big day for Oh So Curious. We have two shows for you today, not just DCU Daily, but we also have Tier List Tuesday. So we're going to get into that after this show, but first things first, we have so many gosh dang stories for you today. So many. First, we're starting with Marvel. We have three different topics for you. We got X-Men stuff, we've got Avengers, Doomsday, Thangs, and we got Spider-Man Brand New Day stuff. We have rumors about casting. We have rumors about a messy post-production. We got TV spots, details, post-credit scenes, all that nonsense. So we have that ready to go. Then we have a bit of MovieTalk Madness. We pretty much are only talking about Hunt for Gollum today. There was some big stuff that dropped for the upcoming Lord of the Rings film, so we will be talking about that. And then a little bit more about Paramount Warner Brothers, because the people are still going on and on about that. So we're going to be talking about how more and more people, lots of suing, lawyers are having the time of their goddamn lives because everyone's suing them and this person's suing. Everybody's suing. The girls named Sue are happy about this because so many Sues out in the goddamn realm of business of Hollywood. So talking about that. Then we have our quick hits, got a lot of fun stuff there. Got some Chris Nolan stuff, so I'm sure Caleb will be very happy about that. And then finally, DC News. We have our quick hits. We got stuff about Absolute Batman. Turns out Scott Snyder had the idea for this, not just with DC, but with the, shit fucks down the street. So he talked about that. So we're going to be talking about that. And then apparently is Booster Gold a go? According to Writers Guild of America, it might be. And then finally, Man of Tomorrow, somehow Jolo returned because Blue Beetle, is back. Allegedly. So we are going to get into that after this wonderful, wonderful intro into the news.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always the number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding.
You're
kidding. I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. You're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What the world needs now.
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
Here we are. Welcome to the news, ladies and gents. I am here. I am your host. I am Dan? No, I'm John. Probably, don't have I don't have hair or the glasses right now, so no. I'm John, not Dan. But I know I can see how that's very confusing. So very confusing if you're like maybe Stevie Wonder. But here we are. We got Monique in the chat. Hello. Wonderful dinner you got here. Not a fan of chickpea noodles, but whatever floats your boat. We got this doofus in the chat. Hello, Caleb. And then we got Harold. We are early today because why not try to be early? Why not try to go to sleep on time instead of at 3 a.m? So, and we got two shows today, so we're, try to fit everything into a small combined space. But here we are. Here Dan is. Dan, how are you on this wonderful Tuesday? You are muted.
Sorry, I was gonna say I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk about hey, it looks like Adam Driver might actually be Magneto, and it looks like we got Blue Beetle back for realsies this time. So yeah, lots to get into, and we got obviously Lord of the Rings and everything in between. So yeah, a lot of news today. I'll go through the business stuff at some point as well. Apparently Paramount's getting sued left and right, which is, I guess, a good thing. So, yeah. Lots to talk about.
Speaking
there.
of a good segue, we starting off with MCU Weekly. With they already got the fan art out, boys and girls. We already got that fan art out because not even for a day, boom, got to get those clicks. Thanks,
Yeah.
Boss Logic. I assume this is Boss Logic. This looks like Boss Logic.
Yes, agreed, Harold. It looks, yeah. I mean, we're doing an early show today relative to our usual time, which is good for everybody's sleep schedule on the East Coast. Hello, Sunju. Yeah, there's actually more artwork in here because I mean, of course, we did talk about this. What yesterday it was it APOC Horseman
APOC
kind of came in.
Well, it was
and
My
backed
Time to
up My Time to
Shine that
Shine.
said a villain,
Yeah.
and then APOC Horseman said,
He's
"Oh
playing
no,
he's playing Adam.
somehow
sorry,
Magneto returned,"
Magneto.
and here we
Adam
are.
Driver is gonna be now again. It's still at the end of the day, it's still a scooper or two scoopers saying that Adam Driver is gonna be Magneto. So, be that as it may, still this artwork is fantastic. I could totally see it. I don't know if we need to really lean into the long hair.
Spider Monkey was the guy. Spider Monkey did this one, but I was not wrong that Boss Logic did throw his hat into the ring. So
and we'll get into the Bill Skarsgård thing in a minute. Don't you worry. We're gonna. There's a reason why Fancast Friday poll includes both Magneto and Professor.
Yes,
Rex,
yeah. Boss Logic and Spider Monkey do
So,
not use Gen AI in their artwork. They actually do it for realsies.
There's excellent artwork. So yeah, I mean, look, we could certainly see it. I mean, look, here's my thing. I feel like Adam Driver mostly has the long hair in a lot of his stuff, but do you really need a long? I don't know. Like, I guess we haven't seen a long hair Magneto before in live action. So,
I mean, X-Men 97 kind of has like a shoulder length hair.
Yeah, I mean, like also
Magneto.
Ian McKellen, like in the early movies had like big hair, so not really long hair, but big hair. So there's a very subtle difference on that. But yeah, hey, I can't wait to see Kylo Ren take his turn as Magneto. Just Adam Driver's collecting. He's like, hair, my stuff. Magneto, Kylo Ren, and just add to that maybe 60. That dinosaur movie nobody saw. I guess he was a good guy in that one.
65.
So 60. It was called 65. Because it was 65 AD.
65 million years ago is when
65 million
dinosaurs
years
were
ago.
on
Never
the
mind.
earth.
Whatever. Yeah,
That's
clearly
right.
my timelines are off. 65 AD.
Clearly,
dinosaurs
Dan
were
did not have a
long
dinosaur phase as a kid. So.
gone. Oh, I
forgot about
did.
But going on to what I think.
By
I
the
believe...
way, sorry. Can Sanju's question? Can he top Michael Fassbender? It's gonna be it's a tall order because Michael Fassbender did such a good job. But I mean, look, you got Sir Ian McKellen and Michael Fassbender. Like you're joining elite company, so we'll see how it goes.
Speaking of elite company, in terms of the people that are eyed to play Professor X, I believe this one has Patrick Wilson and Bill Skarsgård. But in addition to that, I believe there was someone else that was also considered that I remember.
So again, APOC Horseman was. This is again coming from the same people. My Time to Shine said, "Welcome to Dairy Star. Bill Skarsgård is in talks to join the movie. Potentially
Which I'm less likely to believe."
Yeah. Then Night Edge Media, another scooper, said that he believes Patrick Wilson is also being eyed for the role of Professor X. Now, of course, My Time to Shine doesn't really say what character Bill Skarsgård would be considered for. So Patrick Wilson specifically, they pointed out, would be for Professor X. So I don't know. It could just be. Look again. These are all scoopers. And then APOC Horseman said, Storm is being cast right now alongside Cyclops, Rogue, and others. They don't have anyone yet. So. Big grain of salt because these are all still rumor level reporting. It's not really corroborated by any good inside sources and multiple sources at that. So but John, if you take it at face value, if you go up to the photos, like you compare Patrick Wilson to Bill Skarsgård, if you had to pick between the two, do you feel like
Patrick
those
Wilson.
are
It's not even close. It's like I love Bill Skarsgård as an actress. He would be. I say actress. He would be a horrible choice for Charles Xavier. He would be horrible. Like I love Bill Skarsgård. He has done an excellent job both here, and that's not being he's better as villains. No, straight up, like he would be a fucking terrible choice. Like he would be terrible as Professor X. I don't see it at all. It would just be the face is wrong. the style of acting's wrong. It's all wrong. Patrick Wilson is like pitch fucking perfect for that role. Like, he has that mentorship, he has that like kind of like gentlemanly scholar kind of vibe, but also he's played a lot of mentors and dad characters, so that helps as well. He has the experience, it works. Like, Patrick Wilson has been in 3 separate like universes he's been in Watchmen, he was a voice cameo in BVS, and then he was finally Orm in the Aquaman movies, but he's done great work, and I think he would be an absolute excellent choice for Professor X. I just think yeah, I would agree Bill is probably the better actor, but Patrick Wilson fits the role more. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Bill Skarsgård doesn't play a lot of hero characters. I mean, Patrick Wilson's kind of done it both ways. So, and he's also very experienced in superhero franchises, mostly DC.
I also remember seeing somewhere that like maybe there was another scooper, I don't know, but I remember seeing somewhere like, Dan Stevens was also like considered for the role, which I'm like, I can kind of see that.
I would love to see, dude. I mean, again, come on, he was Legion. It would be like just perfect, no? Because like he played the son, now he's gonna play the father. Like, I would love Dan Stevens to take that on. That would be picture perfect. Like, yeah, that would be ideal for me. But anyway, Patrick Wilson would be a solid choice for Charles, for Caleb. Too tall for Kyle. Who? Bill Scar? Who gives a shit? He's gonna be in a wheelchair.
Who gives a shit? He's gonna be sitting the whole time.
Like, who cares? Unless
he's not gonna be too tall when he's sitting in a fucking wheelchair the whole
thing.
Damn time.
Anyway, yeah. Like, unless they do the whole, X-Men Days of, First Class sort of a story, which I don't know if they're gonna do that. Unless they do like a I don't know. It's too much speculation, too early to tell. Bill looks too creepy. Okay, come on now. Yeah. Let's not discriminate.
No, 100%. Dude, look. I mean, there was a reason he keeps getting cast as villain roles. Like, come on, like fucking Pennywise and Count Olok and just like all that. Like, it just, yeah. No, he's too creepy. I'm sorry. He's got a niche.
Sure.
And I don't know. I don't think that would work.
Sure. I mean, I'm not somebody who's gonna discriminate at that level, but you know what? Hey, like it's one of those things where he's
not a bad looking guy. It's just,
No. Well, like, I'm just saying he's been sort of typecast a lot, and maybe if he's trying to break out of that. Look, here's the thing: if he does an audition and screen test really well, then I mean, he could get the role. Who knows? There's always an opportunity to.
He's not Joker. He just played a clown. That doesn't automatically make him Joker. Like,
yeah.
Come on now.
So. There's always the opportunity. Mark Wahlberg is...
I think we found another mutant.
guys. Oh yeah, so great. I'm a peacock. You gotta let me fly because I can't walk. Anyway, so we'll unusual. Okay, all right. You were insinuating that, Caleb. Anyway, we'll leave that there. X-Men, and of course, it's gonna be interesting whether it's whether it's Magneto or Professor X. Can you imagine Adam Driver as Magneto, and then of course one of Patrick Wilson or Bill Skarsgård as Professor X? It's just, they already wasted Giancarlo Stanton. Wait, am I going for the right person? Giancarlo Esposito. All-Star Game on the mind. Sorry, that happened earlier today. I just named a baseball player, Giancarlo Esposito. They already wasted him. So I mean, we need a Professor X and a Magneto at this point. So anyway. We'll leave that there. If there's any more updates, I'm sure we'll talk about it. You guys can go vote for those as options in the Fancast Friday poll. Once again, it's up now. Yeah, great actor can pull off any role, Sanju. I agree, but it's also like the look they're going for, because that's why they do screen tests, also chemistry tests. John, how much do you want to bet that for the casting of Professor X and Magneto, they're gonna try to do like a screen test with the two of them together, kind of almost like a Lois and Clark situation, because how much. Yeah. You got
to make sure they pull off the gay vibe. So like 100%, they need to have that perfect amount of chemistry. So
Boston, like, who would say? You mean Mark Wahlberg would say Boston?
Yeah.
Or X-Men in a Boston accent? Oh, I don't know how you would say. What is X-Men in a Boston accent anyway?
To me, my X-Men. Come on, we gotta fight Magneto here.
Well, speaking of Magneto, Magneto is going to be in Avengers Doomsday, John, and we got to talk about the latest on Avengers Doomsday. What do we got here? Because the Russo brothers were talking again.
Yeah, they reveal how they're handling the movie's massive cast, and I'm gonna go
I
with
wonder
not
how.
well. That's because of the next story we're gonna get into, but let's talk about that later.
Let's one at a time.
We have a phrase that we call "firm papa, firm mama." You got to be firm but gentle at the same
Firm.
time. You have to create an environment that where there's structure and there's a lot of movement in the structure. These movies have more movie stars than any movies in history, and movie stars, by their very nature, want to shine. That's their job. It's hard to shine when there's 19 other movie stars in a scene with you. So you have to work meticulously hard to make sure that everyone gets these moments, because each one of these actors is playing somebody's favorite character. So if you're not going to service the character properly, then you're going to disappoint somebody in that audience. A lot of that has to do with the very subtle POV shifts throughout the story, with one overarching POV like Infinity War is all told from Thanos' point of view. But if Thor, when he lands, if that axe cuts Thanos' head off, it's automatically a Thor movie. That's how close these points of view are to each other, and that's all very calibrated from a storytelling standpoint to create, to maximize impact, and to maximize the surprise for you. We have to work very hard to surprise you and to circumvent that instinct by giving you these subtle calibrations and points of view that keep you guessing while you're watching the movie, and then more stuff, but I don't feel like talking anymore, so.
I will say this. Look, listening to all of that, I'm just like the Russo brothers say a whole lot without saying anything at all. It's just the fifth time we have done this. Like they just say stuff, and then at the end of it, you're like, did any of that mean anything? Like, what the fuck are you guys talking about? And like, it's just because it's one of those things they can't go into details because everything is classified, like classified. So it just becomes this thing of talking around circles around a topic that you can't touch with a 10-foot pole. And I'm like, just don't say anything or say very little, because I'm like, I don't need you to spouse filmmaking philosophies at me. You guys aren't one of the greatest directors of all. You just happen to be some of the highest grossing directors, but like, quite frankly, if I wanted to like make the greatest movie of all time, you wouldn't even be the top 50 on my list to go for the job. It just good seriously, yeah, it is a good way of describing their careers. Exactly, Caleb. That's their filmography is a lot of that. Very generic, talking around things rather than like actually dealing with anything substantial in their stories. CC Black, hello. So thanks for the super chat. How fast do Doomsday tickets sell out on Monday? Well, we did talk about yesterday that the tickets will go on sale this upcoming Monday, so a week from yesterday. And John, I want to say, you guys let us know in the comments, what do you think? I don't know if you want to note this down or not, but if I were to say how fast those Doomsday tickets sell out,
minutes.
Well, I was gonna say 5 minutes. So, but yeah, look, here's the thing. You got to remember, I think they're putting out the PLF tickets first, so only the premium formats. I don't know if it's everything all go at once. Obviously, no IMAX, at least for the first few weeks. So the 3-week engagement with Dune. So week 4, you can go see it in IMAX, I suppose. But yeah, minutes is probably accurate there, John. But there is something else. Remember that John Campea had been teasing for a while that maybe the post-production on Doomsday wasn't going that well. Now, I thought that some of that was hot gas because, again, we have talked about how both Aquaman movies went through those problems. Both of them came out pretty good. The first one made $1 billion. We have heard that has happened before with other movies as well, especially Marvel films where they rejig so much stuff. Like Fantastic Four cut so much shit out. They even cut out John Malkovich from the movie, but it ended up making over $500 million. So yes, that could have been more, but for a Fantastic Four movie, that's pretty impressive. So, hey, CC Black's grandma asked her to get her a ticket. That's awesome, man. I hope your grandma enjoys Avengers Doomsday. But John Campea kind of followed up with that recently, talking about what he has heard. And CC Black, to your note, yeah, I'm sure they filmed 5 hours at least for Doomsday. Like it's obvious. It's like for movies of this, like, dude, remember they filmed like 6-7 hours worth for Mission Impossible. What was the last one called? The Last Reckoning. And they had a version of that movie that was like 6 hours long or something. It's just for movies of this size. It's ultimately what you get out of the edit, and you basically remake the movie again because you're trying to figure out what's going on. So yeah, I mean, I believe it, and I do respect R&B quite a bit of his opinion. I really love the way he talks about movies. Obviously, he's got a lot of experience, real experience, working at the studio level in Hollywood. So, but anyway, talking about this here specifically, is Avengers Doomsday a mess? Well, like I was saying, John Campea did address this again in a recent episode of his podcast, which I check out every once in a while, but. Let's see what he had to say. He said, a few months ago, I was told by a top source of mine that the same one who told me or told John that about the Blade movie that was scrapped, that Avengers Doomsday it was a mess, and which had led some people internally at Marvel to wonder whether it would make its intended December 18, 2026 release date. So that sounds like a pretty bad mess, but. Later on, John Campea said, my source tells me there was indeed friction, quote unquote, in the editing room, but that they will figure it out, quote unquote. And any doubt that about making that release date, the December 18 release date, has evaporated. So, like I said before, it sounded like something that was going to be a whole lot of nothing, because for movies of this size, especially when you have like 19 lead characters and as many, if not more, supporting characters in a movie that's going to be around 3 hours long. We talked about yesterday that runtime is going to be 2 hours 45 minutes, possibly a little longer, maybe a little shorter, depending on what the final cut is. But for movies of this scale, where they're spending probably $300 million or more just making the film, they usually rejig it quite a bit. I'm not surprised that there was a point where they were having a hard time finding the movie, which that could mean a million different things. That could mean like, it's just something about this movie just doesn't feel right. To like, there's obvious problems here we gotta fix. So, and obviously they went through reshoots. I'm sure that helped. And yeah, look, like apparently all those doubts evaporated anyway. So what ends well, the saying, what ends well is all is well, whatever. So yeah, was it a mess? Maybe at one point, but is it a mess now? I don't think that's something we need to worry about. And quite frankly, I'm not surprised because again, this is more of the usual, when it comes to just these big projects, whether it's Marvel, whether it's DC. I know we talked about how Supergirl, things didn't work out in the end with all that went through. So it's not like it always works out, but more often than not, things tend to work out, and more often than not, we don't hear about it because like that kind of stuff doesn't get let out into the world unless something disastrously go. Like for example, if Avengers Doomsday's box office really craters for whatever reason, then I bet you there'll be people who would be secretly talking to all these journalists, and you'll be getting those kind of expose articles like what we got for Supergirl. Until then, I wouldn't worry so much about Avengers Doomsday. Marvel and Disney have so much writing on this movie. They will spend as much money as they need to get it right, and quite frankly, they still have 5 months to figure it out. So that's plenty of time. If we were getting this reporting in November, I would be really worried, but 5 months out, they don't need to even finish editing a month before the movie comes out, because nowadays all these things, they're delivered digitally to movie theaters. You can download them off a server, so you can really go almost right to the wire editing this stuff. I think the Russos themselves said that it might be like sometime in November, if that, when the movie gets taken out of their hands, which would be at that point 2-3 weeks away, late November, around Thanksgiving time, because the movie comes out, of course, December 18th. So there you go. Yeah, all is well that ends well. Thank you. I was trying to think of that. Thanks for the assist there, Caleb. Yeah, it's hard to balance 70 characters. Russo's always figure it out. I don't know how. Well, I mean, look, that's, if anything, that's part of their genius, you could say, because it's one of those situations where not a lot of directors can do that. So on that level, I appreciate that they have a certain skill set, and they're great. They come from a TV directing background, which I think helps in this instance for them, because TV direction, you're coming in, you're stepping into a world that's already there, that has characters that already have built-in story arcs, and you just kind of take the baton and run with it. And you're willing to take the input from the producers, usually the showrunner. And for the Russo brothers, that works well in the MCU, because the MCU is like one big TV show. It's basically Kevin Feige is the showrunner, and then he's got a couple of people that he works with, and he's got a bunch of people in his writer's room, per se, that mark out the overall character arcs, the big stories of the MCU. And the Russo brothers come in and they direct an episode or two. Now they're doing a two-parter known as Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. So I'm not surprised that things are were on the rocks for a little bit and then playing out better now. Also, the other thing you got to consider is usually this kind of reporting, what usually is the case is we are hearing about it weeks, if not months, after the actual things have happened. So there's a lag, and depending on when, in this case, John Campbell decided to put this out, he might have put it out way after he heard about it. So and again, I'm speculating here, so we can't be like, oh, this is happening now. This might have been where the movie was 3 months ago, and then they did reshoots, and now they're probably fine. So, there's no need to worry too much about this. Yeah. Thank you, Caleb, for the comment. How many additional characters do you think that are in Doomsday that haven't been announced? Over, under 10? Well, CC Black, if I had to guess, considering the ones they haven't announced, which we pretty much know are going to be in there, like there's rumors about Scarlet Witch, Doctor Strange, a few others. Over, under 10 is probably a lot, because I know they probably did a few cameos that they shot in those reshoots. I'd imagine maybe they sneak in an extra X-Men into, maybe a few characters from the Loki show that we don't know about really, like, Mobius and such. So I over, under 10, I don't know, like I would probably go under 10. Over 10 feels like a lot, even if you count the ones that I just mentioned, so probably under 10. But anyway, let's move on. We go from Avengers Doomsday to talking about Spider-Man Brand New Day, the latest adventure that Tom Holland is set to go on in the MCU. And of course, we are literally weeks away from the movie coming out, so we are just in that final run-up marketing campaign, and much like what DC did for Supergirl and last year for Superman, obviously Marvel does the same for their movies. And of course, as part of the release strategy, Sony doing the distribution, so they're doing the marketing with Marvel. I'm sure Marvel has a say, but Sony mostly is in charge of all the ads and the trailers, and they're doing a pretty good job of it, because we've got a new TV spot and it revealed a surprising twist about the hand. Now, there's multiple TV spots that they've put out. We actually get a better look in one of them about the sequence where clearly Punisher is going to be a big part of that fight with the Hulk, and of course Spider-Man by his side. So we already heard about that. But John, the one thing that this new article hinted at, which comes from one of the ads that the many ads that Spider-Man has put out there recently, is about the hand. The hand we have seen in many of the ads. We have seen him in several of the trailers. And John, for the longest time, people have been speculating. And I mean, you could stay at the top of this article. There's really nothing here for us to read out. It's more.
There's no. Well, I mean, you have like the videos here.
Yeah, but like really, what it is if you watch one of these ad spots, which you're welcome to go check this out, either find them on YouTube X or go to comicbookmovie.com. One of the ad spots showcases Scorpion saying, "Oh, do you think I'm Scorpion?" And then you get to hear more of imagine Sadie Sink's character talking about, I can jump into whichever different person and stuff. But the way the trailer is cut, the way this 1 30-second ad spot is cut, John, it looks like the hand is also possessed by this Sadie Sink, psychic character, because that implies now that not only can she possess a person, she can possess multiple people at once, or maybe at the very least the leader of the hand in the movie. So when Spider-Man's fighting the hand, this does kind of give context as to why Spider-Man in that prison versus the hand. It also might debunk some of the Daredevil connections. So I mean, look, Scooper saying DODC is the main villain, Sanju, does make sense considering how they'll be setting up the DODC for the mutant era after Secret Wars, so I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, it's sort of implied that Sadie Sink's character is like in prison at the DODC. So again, we might find out that she isn't really a bad person. It's just, it's like Supergirl, the Sasha Kaje Supergirl. But anyway, John, so basically it looks like the hand, when they're fighting Spider-Man, are possessed by this telepathic, telekinetic character that Sadie Sink is playing, Jean Grey or otherwise. Do you think that would make all the sense in the world? And also, do you think that dispels all the rumors about Daredevil being in that same prison and Spider-Man
that might go against,
at the same time?
From what we've been seeing, that might actually go against it, because if it's really just if it's just Sadie Sink's character, then it's not really the hand having beef with Spider-Man. It's just Sadie Sink utilizing the hand for an army against Spider-Man to help defeat him for whatever reason. So
Yeah. I mean, the other thing could be that the hand is there to free Daredevil, but then also Spider-Man shows up there for some other reason. We don't know why Spider-Man's going to the DODC prison. I was like trying to figure out like if any of the trailers give us any hints why unless he's trying to free this person, which if now the hand is possessed by this Sadie Sink character, then I presumably Sadie Sink is not in prison, or it'd be very difficult for her to stay in there. So yeah, look, these ad spots clearly try to throw you off. I went back and watched one of the ads when you hear the same line of, "Oh, you think I'm Scorpion?" and they layer it over the fight scene with Scorpion at night, and then you have the one where it's in the daytime and it's winter, and it clearly the line is from the scene when Scorpion fights Spider-Man in the daytime, but then also they've layered it in that other ad spot where he's fighting him at night, which was in the beginning of the second trailer. And that's when apparently, you know, Spider-Man's going through all of his changes with the webs and all that. So it you know, you could tell right there that they're obviously trying to throw us off. And I mean, you know, trailer editing works like that. So yeah, we'll see exactly what's going on and then the movie comes out. But until then, it's just kind of interesting to see how that's all again. They're slowly giving away small bits of details. Obviously, some of the big stuff is still very much, you know, being hidden, and rightfully so until the movie actually comes out. So yeah. Anyway. Speaking of Spider-Man potentially dying, Sanju, let's get to that part, John, because the next article, now this has been something that's been going, I don't know where it started, honestly, that Spider-Man was going to die.
I mean, we talked about it yesterday, how Tom Holland might have started it, but
like, it's also like, I feel like maybe one of those, because like, I don't think Tom Holland has ever like directly said anything. I think like some scooper out there might have like put this out a while ago, and so it's been like rampant, and I don't know how true at all it is at all, because Tom Holland himself seemed to imply that the movie has a happy ending, unless of course that wasn't always the case, John, because as per this article there may have been an ending that they tested for and it didn't really work out, so they changed it, like Sony and Marvel. Hello, Kevin.
Technically they did let Spider-Man die, but then they brought him back a year later. But
between Infinity War and Endgame, yeah. By the way, Kevin, yes, I think 500 million. I think they're looking at a $550 million opening weekend worldwide. So I don't even think 400 to 500 is enough. 550 is the number.
Well, he's talking domestic. At 550, you said.
Oh no, dude. The record is 357. That was Avengers Endgame. This
he said I didn't see. Again, my camera's blocking it, so I can't say. I didn't see total.
No.
I didn't see total. My bad.
But he said domestic. Dude, there's no. Like, the last Spider-Man movie opened to Spider-Man No Way Home opened to 260.1 million, I think, domestic, which is the Spider-Man record. The all-time record is Avengers Endgame, 357 point something. There is no way Spider-Man's doing 400 to 500 million domestically. It will probably do 550 or 500, 550 worldwide. It's probably going to be around 250 domestically. Like, that's just what the predictions stand. But anyway, John, getting back to this, can you walk us through this article, because they do talk about how they, according to a scooper, they might have had multiple endings.
Do you want to put a spoiler warning up, because you yelled at me last time?
No, I'll put it up. There you go. Let's talk about it.
Rumors initially circulated that Peter Parker would be killed off. The expectation was that he would return in Avengers Secret Wars, along with the rest of the heroes who will fall to Doctor Doom and Doomsday. It seems like this may have been the original plan, but if these latest details turn out to be accurate, Brand New Day's ending will be viewed as controversial for a very different reason. According to My Time to Shine, which, you know, grain of salt, Spidey survives, there's no Venom, there's no MJ, there's no recreation of Kraven's Last Hunt panel with the web hand climbing out of a grave, and the end of the movie sees Parker and Ned Leeds doing their signature handshake. Ned's muscle memory kicks in, and he realizes that Peter is Spider-Man. If this really is how Brand New Day ends, we can only assume that Sony Pictures tested the original, more depressing denouement and decided to make some significant changes after receiving negative feedback. This is just one rumor relating to the ending of the film out there, so best not to put too much stock in these details. At any rate, we only have a couple weeks to go before we find out for ourselves. According to the latest box office updates, Brand New Day could make as much as 230 to 250 in North America alone. It releases on July 31st. If the movie does get closer to 250 major, it will come in just below the mighty No Way Home, which took in 260.1 domestically in 2021. So
okay. Yeah, okay, so they might have shot an ending and did a screen test, and apparently people didn't like the idea that Spider-Man dies, so they decided to change it up. it does kind of sound lame. On like, not gonna lie, I think Caleb and I agree on this. It kind of sounds lame that if muscle memory is how the spell, the effects of the spell are broken and Ned remembers, unless their thing is, oh, because Ned is like, you know
what?
Not
Here's
even
the
trying
only-
one of the
okay,
greatest wizards.
I just thought of something. I just
Yeah.
thought of something.
Okay.
What if okay, this is gonna sound maybe kind of dumb, but like
Okay.
the only way I could see this actually working
Mhm.
is if like, okay, Ned somehow muscle memory dispels fucking magic, and like that's the thing that's like, oh, he realizes Peter Spider-Man. The only way I can see this working
I don't.
is
Okay.
if it's like this is partly the reason why like it has something to do with the aberrations of like Doomsday, like that, like either this affects that or that affects this. Like that's the only way I can kind of see it working, is if like what are they, I don't know what they're called, aberrations, what what the fuck are they called? Incursions. I keep forgetting. It's just like
Sorry.
stupid
I was gonna be
nonsense
like,
science words that nobody fucking cared about like 2 years ago. Incursions.
No, but like it's
fucking
not. But they're
excuse
not.
me.
But it's not a real thing. It's not a real.
No, I
science
know.
Thing.
I'm
It's
just saying it's
made
like
up for
fake.
Marvel.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's like, do you use quantum for everything? They should have called it quantum
No.
moments or something like that. Just to
They just,
make it
dude. It's
feasible.
also they overuse that in many ways. Like there's a very narrow definition in science for what that quantum means. But yeah.
The thing is, I think like if it's like the incursions are kind of the reason why this happens, or this happens and then like it feeds into the incursions, I can see that kind of working. If it's just like, oh, it's just muscle memory, he figures it out and it's just a cliffhanger ending, kind of like how it was for like Far From Home, just so people will see the next movie, that's fucking stupid. But considering that the next Spider-Man movie is gonna be the Spider-Man movie post Secret Wars,
a lot would have happened.
A lot's gonna happen, and like it's not even gonna connect anyway. So what's the fucking point? Like it would make more sense. I mean, again, Caleb's right. They don't have the balls to do it because the only reason Spider-Man died, quote unquote, in Infinity War is they knew everyone was gonna be brought back in Endgame anyway. Oh, it's a downer movie. Yeah, it's a downer, but it was with the expectorant that like they would all get brought back because this is fucking Marvel and they don't have the balls to do fucking anything. So, I personally think that
enterprising,
like if he like it would make more sense that he died, because then the final two movies would be post Secret Wars and be in this Brave New World and all that shit. So like it makes more sense. They don't have the balls to do it, unfortunately. But like but the only way
how do you bring him back though? Do you think would like when they restore the multiverse?
We're gonna get God Emperor Doom. Like it's
or maybe
like,
Battle World. He's
flick of the wrist, bam, there you go. You brought back a Battle World. Also, here's this like black goop I found. Here, have that for your suit. Bam, there we go. Because that's when Spider-Man first got
I wouldn't mind it.
suit,
I wouldn't mind it at all. It would be one hell of a downer ending though. Spider-Man, brand new day. Oh, Spider-Man's dead at the end of the movie. It's almost like I feel like people might react to it at the same time they reacted to the end of
somebody can die on a
BVS.
brand new day. Like people die every day on their new days, and boom, dies. That happens. It sucks, but it happens.
No, I think if indeed they
here's the
folded
thing,
on
like
the
if
ending
it's
because
just,
of the test
as I
screening.
keep saying, like if it's just Ned being like, oh, muscle memory, I feel like the incursions would like start to bleed into this world, into the MCU, specifically this Earth 19999, that world specifically.
616, if you ask.
It's
Kevin
not
Feige.
616. I refuse to fucking call it 616. Kevin Feige can 616 D's nuts, okay? But I feel like if it was like due to incursions or like due to the magic, because the thing is, like, the whole thing was like, we're gonna fucking blow up the multiverse if like you fucking remember anything, so we have to complete the spell. So if like Ned remembering like is actually going to help cause the incursions, because that's the thing that bleeds into the multiverse, because that's the thing that started all that shit in the first place. So I think that if whatever feeds what, that would be a lot better than just like, oh yeah, he remembers because insert plot device here. I think to
Yeah,
help
it just
feed it into Doomsday,
sure.
which
If
is
he
the
is an
next
anchor being
fucking
too, yeah.
movie, that would
Yeah.
make sense.
It would. It would. I just everything you're saying makes a lot of sense to me because I'm like there should be some level of if again either there should be some level of finality to this because you could still resurrect Spider-Man in one of those movies, the Avengers films, or you could just have Tom Holland sit them out, which I think is highly unlikely. But you know, it's I would believe it, but I also believe the idea. Like I think it's. I'm not saying this is true. Again, coming from a scooper, so take it for what it is, a grain of salt and all. But I would believe it if they did shoot a version of the movie where the ending has Spider-Man dying, and then they tested it. If by the way, if they tested one of those endings, I bet you they filmed two. It wasn't like they filmed that ending and were like, let's see how people think about this. Oh my god, they hated it. Let's go film another ending. I feel like if they did do this, where they shot, they had two different endings, I bet you they shot both and then tested both, because these test screenings are literally just A/B tests in some ways, where they're just trying to see how the audience reacts to certain parts of the movie. So in this case, they would have done maybe two different versions of the film and see how people react to the one where Spider-Man dies versus the one where Spider-Man doesn't die. Now, again, this could all still be just us talking in hypotheticals. It is really until it's confirmed. It probably never will be confirmed by Sony. We'll just see the movie that we see in a couple of weeks. But yeah, I would believe it if they went about this in a way where they do kill him off, or if they do back off on the idea because they feel like the average movie-going audience was confused by that or didn't like it. This is a movie that's gonna make potentially $1 billion. I bet you like the commercial success is the priority here. Like, yeah, they're doing everything they can to make this good of a movie as possible, but at the end of the day, if they're worried about people going to walk out of the theater in protest over this movie's ending, then I think they're going to go with the one they feel is a safer bet. Which, as much as I hate the simplicity of the Ned muscle memory, like what the fuck, like it's just the only thing, in my opinion, John, the only way the muscle memory thing works is because Ned was such a, without even trying, seamlessly, easily picked up all the magic stuff in the last one, that maybe because he's a wizard and in the making himself and potentially a very powerful one, maybe that's why he can work beyond the spell that even affected Doctor Strange himself. Who knows? It just yeah, and you know what? There's probably going to be a post-credit scene, which we'll talk about in a minute. What that is and isn't. Hello, DJ Mizzou. I'm looking forward to Scorpion. I think we all are, and it looks like he's confirmed to have at least 2 fights with Spider-Man in the movie. But yeah, we'll leave that there for now with the Spider-Man ending, because I guess we'll find out in a couple of weeks for ourselves how it ends. I don't think most people expected for Superman to die at the end of Batman v Superman either, but obviously that's what happened, and a lot of people didn't like that movie for many reasons, including maybe the ending.
Yeah, and then they brought him back in the next fucking movie. So again, point still stands.
Point still stands. So on that note, John, speaking of post-credit scenes for Spider-Man Brand New Day, according to another report, it does look like we finally know the runtime for the movie. So this comes to us from, again, Cryptic 4K Qual. I was going to say APOC Horseman, but this is Cryptic 4K Qual, who's really good with his scoops on runtimes and, release dates on Blu-rays and stuff. So they were saying that Spider-Man's MCU Return, Brand New Day, is going to be running at 2 hours, 15 minutes. Now, there was a previous report saying the movie runs for 2 hours, 24 minutes. What Cryptic 4K Qual said, without credits, the movie runs 2 hours, 15 minutes, which would imply that if you make the difference between 2 hours, 15 and 2 hours, 424, there's 9 minutes of credits and maybe a post-credit scene or two. So, John, that makes it one of the longest in the franchise, because No Way Home was 2 hours, 28 minutes, so a little bit longer. And then The Amazing Spider-Man 2 was 2 hours, 22 minutes. Now, if Spider-Man Brand New Day is 2 hours, 24 minutes and 2 hours, 15 without credits, do you think there's enough time in there for them to squeeze in a post-credit scene or two?
Yeah, sure, probably. Why not?
Now,
maybe more jokey ones, like
I would like to
that's
see that.
kind of funny. Like,
I would love to see, again, maybe like Ned accidentally finds himself in the Sanctum Sanctorum somehow. Like, I would like to see them lean into that whole magic bit from the last movie. I really don't want that to just be like a one movie thing that they did, but I would also not be surprised if the post-credit scene is something that Russo brothers shot that directly ties into the Avengers movies. Even though Tom Holland is not announced for the Doomsday, at least, I wouldn't be surprised if it's something that teases the next movie in the MCU. Yeah, I don't. Well, they haven't really touched Venom in 2 movies. What is it? Well, the last time we saw Tom Hardy was that No Way Home or was that Far From Home? Which one was he in when he's in Mexico on the beach?
No, it was No Way Home because that's when he gets sent back.
Home?
Yeah.
Oh, but they did it in Far From Home and No Way Home, right? Because like he pops in one movie and he leaves in the other one. Am I remembering?
Yeah, because he pops in Far From Home because he's seeing on the TV that like Spider-Man is
okay, yeah.
Because like, hey, oh, we're gonna set up that they're gonna meet, and then Kevin Feige's like, that's not happening. Fuck off, Amy. So they're like, oh yeah, they're gonna have Spider-Man and Venom. Nope, that's not happening at all. And then he immediately gets yeeted in No Way Home. And I like how I will say a cute thing. I remember like seeing this. They actually kept the same actor as the bartender.
Yep.
Like, and I like how in the world where his family got snapped, he looks young and he has like really nice hair and all that stuff. He doesn't have wrinkles. And then in the world where his family still exists, which is, you know, Venom world, because there was no snap, he's like got like gray hair, he's got wrinkles, and it's just like the stress of having a family. That was a nice touch.
Continuity.
That was a nice touch.
The script supervisor, kudos to them for continuity there. That's great.
Yeah,
awesome.
And even though nobody fucking cared, and nobody saw that except
hey, you care, and that's what matters, you know. Hey, even if just one person noticed, we noticed anyway. Well, we'll leave that there for now. I feel like 2 hours 24 minutes is a good amount of runtime for a big Spider-Man movie that has so much ground to cover. And I bet, you know, we talked about 2 hours 45 minutes for Avengers Doomsday. Again, not every movie needs to be that long, but I feel like Supergirl made the mistake of like trying to trim it down so much that it felt like it needed an extra 10-15 minutes. And we have seen that happen before with other Marvel movies as well. So I'm glad that Spider-Man is going to run a little bit longer than that, because clearly there's enough for them to get through story-wise with so many characters, so many plot points, the main story, B story, C story, whatever. So we'll see how long it goes for. But John, right now, we're going to move past MCU Weekly. Let's get into some movie talk madness, shall we? We got a lot to talk about here. Specifically, if do you want to walk us through, because there's a lot of stuff for Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. I'm sure your favorite, most anticipated movie coming up within the next year.
It's not, but okay. So in terms of this, Lord of the Rings, Hunt for Gollum, director Andy Serkis says AI will be used to de-age characters. And yeah, that's no surprise. I mean, considering that AI is kind of like the hot new thing, and the thing is, it's a little awkward and not great, but considering that as long as they have an actor there, like, it's not like, oh, we're just gonna have a fucking AI Ian McKellen. It's gonna be real Ian McKellen, but he just looks younger. And AI is kind of, unfortunately, the best way to do that.
Well, if you go into the article, he does talk about it in more detail.
Yeah, although speaking of Venom, because, you know, Andy Serkis did direct the second one, so
he did, yeah.
When you think about it, in the original Lord of the Rings films, Peter created Massive, which was a program that allowed thousands of orcs to all have their own individual mindset. So that is a brilliant example of an incredible use of AI, but we're not creating AI shots in our movie. Every shot is created in a traditional way. One of the things what I wanted to do with this film was to bring back all the great filmmaking skills from miniatures to prosthetics and marry them up, because that's my taste. I like it when you mix up different filmmaking techniques. Serkis declined to reveal which characters would be de-aged, but it's assumed it'll be Smeagol himself, Gandalf, Sir Ian McKellen, and Frodo, Elijah Wood.
Yeah,
last month, Warner Brothers also announced that Anya Taylor-Joy would be Sindar, Elf of the Woodland Realm, and a trusted lethal agent of King Thranduil. So, yeah.
Nice. So it makes sense because this movie is meant to sit smack dab between the events of The Hobbit and the original trilogy of Lord of the Rings movies. So yeah, I mean, it would make sense that those actors would need to look younger, pretty much as young, if not younger, than what they looked like in the first Lord of the Rings movie. So Now here's the thing. When he said here, I'm just gonna give Andy Serkis some credit because Andy Serkis knows how the post production of the VFX world works. He's been doing this for long enough, especially all the mocap work. Not only is he on set doing this stuff, I'm sure he's gleaned a lot, especially because he's directed stuff too now. How post production VFX houses work today, what technology they have available. Like I was mentioning, I think not too long ago, how if you watch the behind the scenes making of Sinners, especially some of the scenes where you see both of the twins interacting with each other, like the fight sequence where one of them's got the other in a headlock, usually in the past you would just do plain old head replacements, but when you're trying to do that shot where you got one guy's arm, now it's supposed to be the same dude, and there's light reflecting off the dude's face onto the arm, and that has to motion track and match, and then the face has to perfectly be matched, and the lighting has to be consistent between multiple takes, especially when it's like a almost not a candlelight but like firelit scenes, which is how do you get that to be consistent between multiple different takes and stuff. What AI does is, like, sometimes you call it deep fake, you call it AI. Basically, you get an algorithm, it's your specific algorithm tool, and then you train it with training data that is specific to your project. So like just Michael B. Jordan shots, and whether it's from all the cameras, like that big rig that they put around their shoulders while they were filming the movie, which I'm sure you guys have seen that before, and using all those images, which is training data for that algorithm, and then that, as well as maybe other images of Michael B. Jordan from movies that the studio owns, and you use that training data to help fill in the gaps. So you do the traditional techniques, whether it's a moving a CGI body double so that it matches everything that you shot physically, and then applying a little bit of just traditional face replacement, but then also you marry it all together with the AI deepfake technology to just get the last bits of it right. I feel like that's part of what they're going to do here. They're going to use some AI some AI that's basically an algorithm with training data from previous Lord of the Rings movies of those actors, Ian McKellen and stuff, and use that to help with the de-aging process, which again in this case they're using AI as a tool more so than using it as like, oh, we'll just AI the shit out of it. I feel like what they did in The Flash was probably closer to that, with like Nick Cage and Christopher Reeve and Helen Slater, who looked like so far off from their actual selves. So and then they hid behind the "we made the VFX look terrible on purpose" excuse. But that to me was more egregious use of like AI to like regenerate pretty much dead actors for these appearances. What I'm sure Andy Serkis is talking about is much more closer to what Sinners did. So I believe that's more what it is. So yeah. So I'm just gonna put and again give him the benefit of the doubt. And also that software, the piece of software, massive. I mean, dude, Veta would not exist today if it wasn't for the Lord of the Rings movies. And then they went on to do all the Avatar films for James Cameron. Like Peter Jackson, much like George Lucas, has given a lot to the movie industry's VFX departments, and really what powers today's blockbusters and changed the way movies are made. Speaking of which, the whole George Lucas saying no to AI, it's here's the thing. George Lucas has always been tech forward. So I think when he says saying no to AI is like saying no to a car, preferring a horse. I agree with him on principle in the sense that AI could be a technology that helps us advance our way and the ways we make movies. It's just, I think that where people are getting the wrong idea, and some companies have sprung up and stuff, is when they try to use AI as the thing to make the whole movie. I think using AI as a tool is fine. Hell, Photoshop has had AI for years. They have AI-based tools for years. I mention it all the time. Premiere, like, Final Cut, DaVinci, they have tools they use, because ultimately today, AI is still mostly just algorithms that are trained on specific kind of data, and then that's how it's able to perform a specific task or function, or multiple tasks and functions. It's just generative AI is like slightly a more capable algorithm. It's still an algorithm. It's not like it's sentient, able to. This is why I think the whole AI is going to generate a movie for me is something that's really not viable today, probably won't be viable for years to come, if at all ever. So again, I think George Lucas is being probably misconstrued when he says what he said. And then again, Andy Serkis, I think, also probably talking more along the lines of AI as a tool rather than the thing to do everything. So Dude, that's not the point. It's not you're okay. You just assigned a fake quote like, "Oh, hey, AI is cool. Let's replace human jobs with crappy, fake-looking slop. This is the future." I don't think George Lucas is saying AI slop is terrible, and I think George Lucas and Andy Serkis would agree with you on that. Because AI slop is the kind of stuff where AI generates everything, and then that's when we get trashy shit that A is meant to deceive you or just looks really bad, and sometimes just straight up offensive. That's not what George Lucas and Andy Serkis are not talking about those kind of things. And it's look, on the other end of the spectrum, I don't think we should be like, oh, AI is so bad, we should make AI go away. AI is a marketing term. The way people talk about AI as a blanket term, most of that technology has been around for decades. Like literally in the 90s, there was a form of AI that people refer to today still existed. It was just way more limited. And it's like, drone warfare became a thing because of the Ukraine war in Russia. But drones for military purposes have existed for like 20 fucking years. We just weren't talking about them because they weren't available at large and in such different varieties. AI is the same thing. Hello, you nerd girl. So yeah, I think it's just we can't be like you can't swing the pendulum in one extreme to the other. Like there has to be some moderation. Like AI as a tool, I think is good. It's supplementary, but and I don't even think it needs to be a last resort. If it's a tool that helps you do something better than what the other tools can do, then sure, why not? I think it's just like right now the bubble. That's the thing. Once the bubble bursts, all this hype with all the dumbasses who feel like either they're investing in it or they're trying to take advantage of it, that's gonna go away, and then we're gonna settle into like what happened after the .com bubble burst. So just wait, give it a few years, and then all that extra hype is going to go away. Hello, Jordan. How are you doing? Who's going to direct the Wonder Woman movie? We have no idea. But you know what? We have tried to make that a Fancast Friday topic, and none of you guys vote for that. So
no, that's writer. No, we have done a.
We did.
We have done a Fancast Friday about directors.
When did
just
we
not
do
writers.
That? Okay, we did.
That was a while ago, but yeah, we have that. So
Okay.
if you want some speculative, fun stuff, then you can check out Fancast Friday on the channel. Just type in Wonder Woman into the search bar, and you're good. Yep.
Anyway, let's
Next
keep going. We have more Lord of the Rings stuff.
Why Lord of the Rings Hunt for Gollum director Andy Serkis won't tick boxes with diverse casting. So he had this to say in regards to this. Tolkien himself was influenced a lot by Norse mythology. There's a lot of that feeling. The Shire feels very, very much like a very white, they're not very concerned about what goes beyond the borders of the Shire, but they know they don't want people coming in. Yes, there have been criticisms. This particular film is somewhat acknowledging that, but we don't think we will do a politically correct just casting for the sake of casting and ticking boxes version of the film. So it's only where relevant, basically. And he also said that it's definitely going to sit between the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings trilogies and books, and in fact. So.
Yeah, look, I think he's not saying anything wrong there whatsoever because, yeah, I mean, it's just the way the books were written. I mean, they're not reinvented because also the continuity is going to feel off if they decide to change up some characters that then look very different in either the Hobbit movies or the Lord of the Rings films. So I don't think he's saying anything controversial. I just think like him addressing this head on, it's a bit of a, damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of a situation because people will talk about it in some negative aspect, whether whichever side of the topic you land on. But I don't know, John. I don't think you say anything wrong here. I think that's the right way to go anyway.
Yeah,
like doing diversity casting for the sake of diversity casting almost never works out. But when you do it for the right reasons, I think it's always a good thing. So I agree with Andy Serkis' approach.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
But apparently, your boy released some footage in regards to filming Hunt for Gollum. They released a video, which I don't know if this is like gonna get us demonetized, but
I don't think we need to play it out. We can skip across the frames, but
yeah,
he did.
But
he shows up for day one of mocap for the movie.
It very much staged, like
what are
we doing today, and it's just like it's clearly staged, but like
he's like, we're doing day one, we got some mocap scenes, and he's like, who's acting? Oh, you are. He's like, oh, that makes it easy, and then he just goes and sits on a box, and he's got cameras pointed at him, and he says,
and action in the Gollum voice, so that's definitely.
And then they show you the slate, so they've started filming. I'm sure this was something they just did for social media. I mean, it's good marketing, James Friend, the DP of the movie. You got Andy Serkis directing The Hunt
Is
for Gollum.
James a foe? No, James friend.
James is a friend. James is a friend.
And they kind of show
teaser.
off some other filming locations.
Dude, New Zealand is so beautiful without even trying. It's ridiculous. Like that looks just so cool. Like I want to spend a day out there or more.
Yeah.
3 months, 9 months in the hills of New Zealand. Mountains.
Yeah, and I believe someone in the comments said that for those who don't know, the filming location at this time allotment is where Frodo and Sam are climbing up the rock face in Two Towers opening scene right before they meet Gollum. So that's definitely a good wink and a nod there. So
hey,
very
Andy
cool.
Serkis would know that. I would know how to like put those pieces together. Great. Like the logo, like the look at this. Can't wait to see more of the movie. I know, John, you're not as excited about it as I am, but I mean, look, it's a Lord of the Rings movie being made in the 2020s that really at this, we've seen the TV show, we saw the anime thing they put out, but we haven't seen a Warner Brothers Pictures Lord of the Rings movie since The Hobbit. And I feel like The Hobbit is maybe not the best of the franchise anyway. So I'm excited to see what he does. Peter Jackson's involved, obviously, as a producer. So yeah. And you know what? Warner Brothers is going to continue to exploit the franchise no matter what we say, because it's one of their, jewels in their crown. So with that, we're going to move on. You guys let us know if you're excited about Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum. But now it's time to talk about a little bit of business for Hollywood. We're not going to take too much time here because, John, yesterday we had a big piece of news come out, which was that finally the state attorney generals, 12 of them, filed the lawsuit against Paramount to stop and block the merger again with Warner Brothers Discovery. This has been in the making for a long time. Apparently, Paramount even gave them some options for like, we're willing to work with you to figure out what you want us to do or not want us to do, and find some way. They gave them 2 options to make this happen by September 30th, which is when they're trying to get this done by. And after September 30th, they're gonna have to pay extra money, literally millions of dollars every day, to Warner Brothers shareholders if the deal doesn't go through. So Paramount doesn't want to spend that extra money, considering they're already going to take on $79 billion in debt. So they tried, but obviously things didn't work out, and the state attorney generals went ahead and sued. Now, the WGA and Cinema United, of course, also came out in support of that. They praised the suing to block the dangerous Paramount Warner Brothers Discovery merger. And I'll just quickly read what they had to say here. The WGA statement is it's a combined statement from WGA East and West, because there's 2 WGAs. There's one for the East Coast, one for the West. And so when they do the awards show, it's combined, and the statement here was with the 2 guilds together. They said the merger of 2 of the largest Hollywood studios will reduce competition in our industry, leading to fewer jobs, lower wages for entertainment workers, less variety of programming, and higher prices for consumers. We have engaged with the offices of the many attorneys general to explain the impact of this proposed merger, and we commend Attorney General Bonta, which is the California Attorney General, and this coalition of states for listening to working people in the entertainment industry and fighting to stop this dangerous merger. Now, Cinema United are the folks that put up CinemaCon. They're like the theater distributor union. They also have been against this. Of course, Michael O'Leary talked about it a lot at CinemaCon this year. He said, we welcome the decision of the attorneys general of multiple states to challenge the proposed acquisition of Warner Brothers Studios. The ramifications of further movie studio consolidation will be significant and lasting, not just in Hollywood, but on main streets across this nation, where local movie theaters serve as cultural and financial cornerstones for communities of all sizes. Now, John, if you go to the next thing, the WGA not only, egged on the state attorneys or like just cheered them on, they also decided to sue Paramount themselves. So WGA also has filed a separate lawsuit from the one that we talked about yesterday that the attorney generals have filed. So now the writers are straight up suing Paramount. Hello, Decole. There's exactly enterprising. So there are 2 different lawsuits going on. So the AGs are making their argument that this is bad for because after the merger, fewer movies will be made, and it's also bad because it's going to put too many cable networks under one company. And Paramount says we have to do this to compete with the big tech, giants like Netflix and Amazon and Apple, That's why we're doing this, to compete with Disney, the mother of all franchises. So that's basically where the battle lines are drawn. Now, of course, the writers, both the WGA East and the West, have filed a lawsuit in the Northern District of California on Tuesday. And again, this is the second lawsuit. This is separate from the state attorney generals. So this just adds on to the troubles that Paramount has. They've got 2 lawsuits against them now. John, they actually have a third lawsuit that's been going on for a few months now. We talked about it a while ago, where apparently there was a group of subscribers to Paramount Plus who filed a lawsuit to stop this, saying that it's going to lead to a lesser Paramount Plus, less options on streaming, which is going to allow Paramount to up the prices faster because there'll be lesser competition. So now in the lawsuit that the WGA filed, their complaint states with fewer competitors, the merged Paramount Warner Brothers entity would have both the incentive and the ability to lower costs by suppressing writers' wages and reducing output. Writers will be paid less and have fewer employment opportunities. With John, between what the state attorney generals were saying and between what WGA is saying, I feel like they're all making all the sense in the world. It's kind of like that thing where, you go to a town and you see there's a gas station on both corners of the same street. You're likely to find a cheaper gas price than you go to a town where there's only one gas station, on that block. And that's because more competition leads to lower prices. So it's not surprising to me. I mean, like, if you're a working writer in Hollywood, having fewer places to work means that, there's more control that these employers can exert, and they can more easily make you work for, less money and lower rates. So it makes all the sense in the world for me. I don't know, John, do you feel like those reasons are justified for what the state attorney generals and the WGA are saying and why they are suing?
I love hearing about greedy corporations. You guys love hearing about I love hearing about greedy corporations all the time. So, yeah. No, we can't just get along because people are greedy dickbags. So here we are.
Yeah. But I mean, speaking to what Enterprising is saying, the best case scenario is they force a trial past September, pushing Paramount into the delay fees state Paramount could pull out due to the expense. I think that's the goal here, Enterprising. That is the goal, because so now the one thing that they've done so far...
to be fair, David Ellison really, really wants it, so he's probably going to try and make this work.
But here's the thing. I think the only way that actually happens, if they force Paramount to walk away simply because of how expensive it is, they're going to need to force it to be more than just a few months. This lawsuit needs to go to trial. It needs to last a couple of years and cost Paramount like another, I don't know, they do the math. It's going to cost them like $1.5 billion, no, $1.3 billion every 6 months. So if it goes for 2 years, that's another like $5 billion or something like that, $3, $4, $5 billion extra, not to mention, other, damages to the two companies for not going about becoming one. So yeah, it would have to go a while. And even then, they might be willing to fork that money out. The Ellison's got money to spare. But the federal court hearing is set for this Friday, for the state attorney general's emergency motion, which is part of their lawsuit from yesterday, to halt the Paramount Warner Brothers Discovery merger. So basically, they're seeking an emergency restraining order on this, temporary restraining order, which is basically going to pause the transaction and while the lawsuit is in progress. And they can ask for, I believe, a 2-week restraining order, and then they can ask for another 2 weeks after that, but that's the maximum. So the most they can put a freeze on this process, the attorney generals, if the judge does that for them twice, is 1 month. So I think the timing of filing this lawsuit in mid-July matters, because they're trying to, again, they're trying to see and test Paramount's resolve, but also this is now firmly, it could really put a lot of actual financial stress on Paramount, because they're going to start to need to pay money out to Warner Brothers for every extra day that the deal doesn't go through. And the midterms could affect it too. That's also true. I mean, it's election year, and I think that's definitely part of it. You got to run out the clock. That's what it is. But John, if you go to the next thing,
take a knee and run out the clock.
It's one of those things where, despite all that, Paramount seems to still be very confident that they're going to get this across the line. Not only that, but get it done by their planned September 30th date, because their top lawyer who is
Top
on the case here
man.
for Paramount. He was very confident. So this is what he had to say. Jeffrey Kessler, he was saying the plan is still to close this quarter before the end of September. And the segment, this was part of a CNBC segment. So on that segment, he said that is the goal, despite the additional lawsuit from the WGA, despite the attorney generals. They're planning on getting this done by September 30th. And, of course, that would mean that all of these parties need to agree on something by then. But is that going to happen? We'll see. But basically, Kessler was saying the company believes strongly in this. They're going to absolutely appeal, even if a restraining order, they're going to appeal it, and they could go all the way up to the Supreme Court if they wanted to. Like, they will pursue this all the way to the Supreme Court. So they're ready to fight. And I mean, Kessler, as well as other Paramount's got like some of the biggest lawyers in this part of the media industry, the legal side, especially ones that have even worked in previous Trump administrations. So they are gonna fight it. Now, what do I think is actually gonna happen? I feel like the next week is going to be telling, especially this Friday, if they get the restraining order or not. If the restraining order is not given, that automatically kind of puts a bit of a damper on things. But I mean, it's an uphill fight, because I don't think this is the kind of thing that has happened before where there's this much opposition at this level. Like, usually the Department of Justice would, file a lawsuit that did that to stop the AT&T Warner Brothers merger. AT&T ultimately, it took a couple extra years. They didn't have a ticking fee, but they did win that case, and AT&T obviously merged with Warner Brothers. So, and obviously, if it goes to this Supreme Court, you never know, because this particular Supreme Court is not the most unbiased set of judges, as we know. So we'll see. But the two lawsuits are on. I mentioned there's a third lawsuit that's still on with the consumers, mostly customers of Paramount Plus suing. So Paramount's got their work cut out for them. Warner Brothers is not going to be cheap to buy, and it might get even more expensive in the next few weeks and months to come. So we'll see how it plays out. But John, there's another story today that we want to talk about. This one I believe you might have a bit more interest in, and maybe. It's a long article, but I'm just going to TLDR it because I don't think there's a whole lot in here that's relevant to what we're talking about. But basically, you know how we talked about the other day that Letterboxd is pretty much up for sale? Hello, Johnny Rico. And I agree with you. I feel like the merger should be stopped. But remember the other day we talked about this? Letterboxd is up for sale. The 60% owner of Letterboxd, Tiny, which is like a Canadian holding company, they bought into Letterboxd 2023. So it's been a few years. Clearly, they were buying it to kind of flip it as an asset. So usually that happens within 3 to 5 years. 2023, 2026, they're trying to make a profit, and they're going to make a pretty big profit, because I believe they paid like around $60 million, and currently the current valuation of the company as a whole is $250 million. Now, that's a pretty big jump, even if you take 60% of that, which I imagine is the part that's up for sale. The 40%, the rest of that company is owned by the original co-founders. Now, there is one new potential bidder that we haven't heard about before that is now also in the running. It's called Intrinsic. They're like a corporation that I feel like the way they describe themselves is like they are more of a mission-based organization where they're trying to do things for the better, not in a religious mission base, but they're more they're trying to get in this race to buy Letterboxd to keep it the way that it is. And so Intrinsic, they're, I think one of their leaders were talking about it in this article on Deadline. Basically, they had raised $100,000 in order to get enough money to cover all the expenses of the bidding process and everything else. And then last Thursday, they got right at the same time as this news dropped, when we talked about Netflix and Versant, which owns Fandango and Rotten Tomatoes, by the way, so Letterboxd would be a good fit for them, and all these other companies were interested in buying Letterboxd. Intrinsic, right last Thursday, also got their legal advisors to approve them making investment available in the company from WeFunder, which is like a funding platform a lot of independent startups now use to bring in big money. The leader of Intrinsic was saying that they're not looking to bring in venture capitalists and other kinds of private equity that we don't like, because all they want to do is come in and then flip the asset in a few years, like what Tiny is doing. What they want to do is they want to buy Letterboxd, and they want to submit a proper competitive offer, because they know that Letterboxd is not going to sell for like, you know, pennies on the dollar, or just be like, we'll sell it to you because you're going to keep it the way it is. They're looking to sell it for as much as they can. And Intrinsic is trying to be in the race with these bigger studios. John, do you care for Intrinsic as an option? If it is got to go in a sale, then I'd rather personally be Intrinsic, if you believe what they're saying, than, I don't know, Netflix or
I think right? that's, you know, I think that's a hell of a lot better than fucking Paramount owning something else. So,
yeah,
you know,
because I mean, Paramount's also in the running on this. Paramount, there's Netflix, there's Versant, Sony Pictures. Now, Versant, I think if one of the big studios or like these other Hollywood companies were to get it, I think Versant would make the most sense, because they already have Fandango and Rotten Tomatoes, so this would be complementary. But the one big thing to make clear in this article, John, is that Letterboxd is what it is because it is what it is. It's a community of movie fans. It's almost like the internet equivalent of a extended Criterion library. It's, you just go there for your appreciation of movies. Some movie studios have used it for marketing purposes, but generally it's kind of like Discord. Like if you bought Discord and tried to merge it into something bigger, then you lose the identity of Discord. Now Reddit co-founder is also bidding on this, and I feel like Reddit would know like what the value of a community is, but I would believe that, you know, if Intrinsic were to get them, then, you know, keep it the way it is. Because people have been flooding Letterboxd posts on social media asking them to not sell. So it's already like, you know, potentially something that people are worried about. So we'll see. Intrinsic, I couldn't describe them to you more than they're just a mission-based corporation, the way they describe themselves. So yeah, Paramount like owning so much. Can Paramount own my credit card debt? You know what, Johnny? I'm sure you can try to convince them. Maybe David Ellison.
I have $30,000 in credit card debt.
So, anyway, well, that's all the business news. We'll move past that now. We'll see if Letterboxd ends up getting sold in the next, I don't know, few months or so, and whether the Paramount lawsuits or any of those Paramount lawsuits succeed. So, John, let's move on.
Oh,
let's get to the
almost hit the wrong thing.
I know.
Quick hit time.
I was like,
quick
wait,
hit.
Deja vu.
Quick hit.
Let's do the quick hits.
And speaking of deja vu, Hunt for Gollum again. Apparently, Anya Taylor-Joy has not read The Lord of the Rings yet, but she is about to. Cool.
Hey,
glad you're doing
nice,
your research.
Good save. I mean, like, she's probably not going to be on set for a little while, and I'm sure it's not going to hurt to have read what the books are all about. So yeah.
Yes. Oh god, deja vu again. Paramount. Paramount Primal dates R-rated comedy Boys for Life. Not Bad Boys for Life, just Boys for Life.
Just Boys for Life.
For spring 2027, Teyana Taylor's dance pick Get Light moves to late summer. Cool.
Yeah, they got a few movies now. They got these two, the one we talked about the other day. I mean, Paramount Primal is off to the races. This helps explain how they're gonna at least maybe put out 15 movies a year for Paramount, you know, if they do go through the merger, because this would give them at least a fifth of those movies every year, you know, so that's good. Yeah, let's keep going.
Yep. Next up, Maggie Grace joins cast of AMC's NASCAR drama series Thunder Road. Just adding to it all.
Keep adding.
Just the only thing they need to get is fucking Tom Cruise at this point.
It
seems like it's gonna be a Days of Thunder fucking sequel.
Literally,
actual Days of Thunder sequel. So yeah.
Paramount Primal does sound like a needlessly edgy studio type. It's a label. It is what it is. It's fine. People will love it if the movies are good. People will, you know, dump on it if they're bad.
Here we go. Steve Buscemi cast in Far Cry series, which I'm on the fence about because I love Noah Hawley, but he also said he's like, oh, we're not going to do a straight adaptation of anything. So it's like, what's the point?
How do you do kids?
How do you do fellow kids?
Can you imagine Steve Buscemi showing up in Far Cry?
I love how somebody asked him about that meme. They're like, hey, so what are your thoughts of becoming an internet meme with you doing the how do you do fellow kids with the skateboard? He's like, I was carrying 2 skateboards, and then just left it at that. So,
I do fellow kids in dystopian.
Speaking, how do
future.
you do, fellow kids? BBC Studios boss confirms it will compete to become the next producer of Doctor Who. We are in it to own it, in it to win it. But it's like,
we're in it to win it, baby.
but like BBC Studios already fucking owns it. Like what?
So no. So what it is? So BBC and BBC Studios are two different things, even though they're under the same entity. So BBC is like the corporation. BBC Studios is the production arm. Now BBC Studios produced all of Doctor Who that we could think of until the most recent iteration with Disney Plus, which was produced by a Sony-owned company, production company. I forget the name of the company, but basically a Sony-owned production company was producing the show for BBC and Disney Plus. Now, BBC Studios produced every iteration of Doctor Who before that, and now that BBC is going to put out a new tender in a few months' time to bring in somebody new to pay and make the next Doctor Who, and BBC Studios as the in-house production arm is saying we're going to bid on it, and we're going to use the licensing fee money that BBC gets to basically put our best foot forward, because we have had 60 years of experience. Who better to do it? And you know what? That's fine. Good. Let them compete. I mean, again, they've done it for so long. I mean, again, the most recent iteration wasn't them, so that's another thing that if you were not a fan of that, then maybe this would be the best move forward. But
Sure.
we'll find out in a few months where this ends up.
But next up, speaking of TV, Sci-Fi TV, Mandalorian and Grogu digital and Blu-ray release dates revealed. No deleted scenes on the way. So what's the fucking point, bro?
Yeah, there was apparently, we know there's a couple of deleted scenes. Like there was an IG-11 character that was cut out. We knew about this. This was reported a little while ago. They basically a bunch of the characters that would have connected to the events of the TV show, including like, Carl Weathers adjacent characters, because obviously he's not around anymore. And they just wanted to create a version of the movie that did not require people to see the previous seasons of the show, which feels weird considering, I don't know, like that's the whole reason why this movie even exists. But anyway, there was going to be a director's commentary on the Blu-ray, so even though there's some deleted scenes, you'll get Jon Favreau talking about it.
So July 21st for digital, August 25th for physical. So
yeah, they're doing
speaking of Warner Brothers, David Zaslav sells $59 million more in Warner Brothers Discovery stock.
I remember like a few months ago he sold twice as much. Now the thing is, this was like an automatic sale that happened. It was set to happen whenever the Warner Brothers Discovery sale stock price hit a certain amount. So it got high enough to cross that threshold, and it automatically triggered the sale of like 1 million or so stocks that he has. Now, David Zaslav is going to get pretty much the biggest golden parachute of the year when he eventually leaves the company in a few months' time, if that merger goes through. So this wasn't like him going in and clicking buttons. It was just automatically triggered by the price of the stock, which, smart on him. If I had his shares, I would definitely be trying to sell high. So good for him.
Yep.
Yeah.
But next up, MCU's X-Men writer officially confirmed new character first relaunch. Apparently, writer Lee Sung-jin stresses Marvel is taking a very different approach to X-Men. This time I grew up with X-Men, and there's no better set of characters that kind of exemplify feeling othered, feeling different from the world. They want to go back to character first, which is the type of writing that me and Joanna Kylo do best. So it's like, yeah, wow, actually making a real fucking movie instead of spectacle and CGI slop. Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, again, you're not saying anything revolutionary. Make a good movie and then we'll talk about it, Like that's how I look at this stuff. So, yeah. It sounds good. I mean, they get the idea behind the X-Men, the central themes, but it's, talking could say a lot without doing anything at all. So, you got to deliver the goods. Yeah.
Yep. Amazing Spider-Man former Marvel boss teases plans for One More Day sequel, but will it be undone? Oh God, just stop.
There it is. There's the quote.
Where Spider-Man's current continuity is right now, I don't know if that's the right spot to tell it, but there's a story there. I don't know when I'll be able to get to it, but Spider-Man is fine. It doesn't need a third story. One more day and one moment in time did what it was supposed to do, and no, they don't get back together and get married because God fucking forbid. I feel like it's a hotly debated story amongst 20 people under 100 pseudonyms on the internet, because literally just before coming back down here, I was talking to a fan for 15 minutes who told me how that story changed his life and helped him through a breakup with this girl. I get that so often where people... Oh, shut the fuck up, Joe Quesada, you fucking asshole. Shut the fuck up. Oh yeah, I was talking to this totally real person that was telling me he really... Shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of here. You're such a fucking dweeb.
I don't have anything else to add to
shut
that.
The fuck up.
Like,
nobody, like, everyone's talking about how much it sucks, but it's the same 20. No, it's like, you created one of the most hated Spider-Man stories of all time. Fucking own up to it. Like, sorry, it's bad. It's only rivaled by Sins Past. I would say in terms of what I have seen from the internet, because I have not read either story, I would say One More Day was so bad it eclipsed Sins Past and made people forget how bad that was, because One More Day was and it's just like this idea. I think what also doesn't help, it also doesn't help with the fact that, like, editorial Marvel Comics, they are so gung-ho on, like, Peter not being happy. I know it's a joke at this point. They're like, oh, we gotta make Peter, like, the reason that, like, the whole thing with, like, oh, Peter being miserable is, like, the reason it, like, people relate to that is because he's miserable but perseveres, but you also gotta, like, fucking make him happy, like, once in a fucking blue moon. It's like, just fucking, you can make him miserable and married. I'm sure there are miserable married people all around, not because of the marriage, but just because of life. So it's just, it's just like, dude, you fucking ruined Spider-Man. You ruined Spider-Man for a lot of people. Just admit, you're like, you know what, we fucked up, but we're gonna fucking double down on it and just keep going. I don't care what you have to say. Just be a full-on dickhead. At least be a dickhead and truthful instead of dickhead and fucking straight up lying about it. Get the fuck out of here. Joe Quesada is a fucking loser. He makes Dan DiDio look good. Like, and that's saying something. Anyway, let's move the fuck on. I don't want to look at this dweeb for any longer. Anyway, so apparently this thing, I don't know what the fuck this is you sent, but it's like fucking 10 hours long.
So basically, this is China that Kevin Feige went over for. Remember the whole stage with all the Avengers Doomsday advertising and the different posters? Basically, apparently Deadpool recorded, like, Ryan Reynolds recorded a bit for this, where he reads out how, like, oh, you know, well, what has happened up until now, and then they killed off Iron Man, and that was a tragedy and all that. And then Kevin Feige comes on stage. They bring on, like, some cosplayers in the costumes of Doom and stuff. And this is the event where they released that first official concept art, which we were talking about the other day. Hello, Stacy. Yeah, it's from China. BB World is the name of the event where this is all from. So, or Billy World. Okay, Billy World. Never mind. So yeah, cool. There was, you know, it's long because they also, like, they're doing it in English and Chinese and translating in real time for, you know, Kevin Feige, because of course Kevin Feige doesn't speak Chinese.
Yeah. So yeah, there we go. That's
cool.
what I was looking for.
That was a big reveal, and then that little Deadpool.
So the fact that it's official just makes it even worse. Jesus Christ.
Well, it was always official. I was trying to make the point yesterday, but yes, this is real. They really revealed it over the weekend. Yeah, cool. All right. I mean, the trailer's probably coming out in a couple of weeks. Or
Digger. That's what I care about.
Yeah.
Digger, baby. Let's go. Fuck Marvel. I care about Digger.
Digger times
Rockwell,
Time
baby.
magazine. I mean, this is a branded cover. This is not a real cover of Time magazine,
Right.
but maybe in the fictional world of Digger, this could be real. Crude power. So, like an oil tycoon, I imagine. Digger. You know,
I love how he
takes
has the
for
coke
oil.
finger. He has the,
Yeah.
he's got the coke nail.
The little details, John. Just the little details. We did a Mount Rushmore yesterday, Stacy. I think you missed it, but definitely we'll do another one next Monday. Yeah, cool. I love it. Love to see it. Love to see more of this stuff as the movie marketing picks up.
Then this.
Speaking of legends, movie legends, John, Ali G was peddling ganja at the Wimbledon men's final. I watched the reel and I'm like, you know what? It's this the nostalgia hits right for me because I enjoyed Ollie G back in the day. I know you don't care for this, but I can't wait to see more from the new movie that they're putting together. So yeah. The official ganja dealer at Wimbledon. I'm sure this was hilarious. I'm sure a lot of people got a good kick out of it. Yes, Mount Rushmore Monday was yesterday, Stacy. But yeah, let's keep going, John.
Mount Rushmore Monday is on Monday. Who would have thunk on that one? Christopher Nolan fans will stop at nothing to see the Odyssey in IMAX 70mm from cross-country trips to delaying
pregnancy.
Please don't delay pregnancy. Oh my God! Like, please, for the love of God, don't fucking do that,
dude. I mean, I hope Jalen's watching because he certainly was going at it yesterday with Millie Alcock for Flaunt Magazine. I'm just saying, Jalen's not delaying any pregnancies. But hey, cross-country trips. Dude, cross-country trips and delaying pregnancies sounds like some kind of like crisis like the COVID pandemic or I don't know, like you can't get, abortions or some shit like that. It's just crazy. But you know what? Hey, the fact that they've got this much fervor going, that's only a good thing for the movie.
Fans will kill to see this movie. They will kill any Christopher Nolan detractors, so watch your
Caleb,
back.
watch out. Yeah, you could get in a lot of hot water, Caleb. We're just on the internet. You could run into real people who might come at you with pitchforks. Just be careful out there.
Anyway, speaking of, we got some behind the scenes stuff here.
There's a whole making
watch
of
the Odyssey,
movie
making of an epic, now streaming on Peacock, and
I'm
experience
gonna watch
it
this after
in
the show.
3 days.
Hey, yeah, watch it on.
Also, by the way,
Peacock.
happy to the French people watching. Happy Bastille Day.
Happy Bastille Day.
Today.
Unfortunately, France got eliminated by Spain in the World Cup semifinals, but happy
Good.
Bastille
Fuck
Day.
France. Anyway, but apparently, your boy Edgar Wright saw the Odyssey last night in IMAX 70mm. So,
hell yeah, he had a lot of good things to say about it too. Yeah,
there's much to rave about on every level, not least the abundantly starry cast. But I also came away thinking Ludwig Göransson's propulsive score and Jennifer Lame's intricate editing. So,
nice.
And also, I believe I shared somebody else's review earlier today. It was this guy Flickpick. He's kind of known on the internet. I don't really watch him that much, but he and this other guy went to go see it, and they give a pretty good review.
Nice, awesome, that's great.
Dude, the fucking
what is wrong? What?
Come on, the fucking obvious joke was there. Edgar Wright, more like Edgar Wrong, dude. The joke was there, slapping you in the face, and you couldn't even fucking do that right. You can't even insult right. God, you're such a loser.
Seriously.
Anyway,
Don't be like him.
Figure's drawing. Scott Pilgrim is arguably Edgar's best movie. You know what? I don't agree, but I'm glad you love it. I liked it when I initially saw it, but it's kind of deteriorated as time gone by. But I Cornetto trilogy, Running Man, and Baby Driver for me. So yeah.
Well, and Tier List Tuesday, by the way, Stacy, it is coming up next after DCU Daily. We'll get into that. Today's topic is 10 more comic book movie action sequences ranked because you guys voted for that. Part 2. Okay, so Kingsport Cal, not a fan of Nolan. Cool. All right. Well, if you get a chance to see the movie, let us know what you think about it. Anyway, let's keep going. I think, John, that brings us to the end of the news portion of the show. And with that, we shall get blessed from the beginning and get into DCU Daily.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in the stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka.
Right, welcome on in to another episode of DCU Daily. Of course, it's that part of the show where we get to talk about Superman, Man of Tomorrow, Lex Luthor, I'm sure, Blue Beetle, you know, a million other metahuman characters in that movie, which is looking more like a Justice League movie by the day. So we'll talk about all of that stuff and more. Harold is here. Arcade showed up just in time. I'm sure Jalen is hiding somewhere. Kingsport Cal is here. Thank you guys for joining us. It is indeed DCU Daily Times Enterprising. Yes, there's some positive news on today's episode of DCU Daily. We got a bunch of stuff. We even had something that Jalen hinted at right at the end of yesterday's show, which was about Booster Gold. So we will talk about Booster Gold today as well. But with me, of course, I got John. John, what part of DCU Daily are you excited about today?
Let's talk about Man of Tomorrow. I think that's very exciting, very positive, very blue.
Very sure. Okay. All right. Well, as we usually do, we'll get things started with DC Quickest. Let's walk us through that. Hey, Ema Nerdgirl's here too. All right.
So this is, Jim Lee talking about Comic-Con and how they're celebrating, a lot of stuff from the Silver Age, the year since the 50s and the Silver Age have gone by. So, our 100-year celebration in 2035 will be here before you know it. So
9 years away, baby. It's almost a decade
so
away.
we're going to be talking about
whatever excuse you need, this is going to be at Comic-Con, of course. There's a lot of DC Comics. I'm sure you talked about it the other day at Comic-Con coming up in San Diego. There'll be a lot of DC Comics panels. So yeah.
I like this guy. I like this guy.
Free Wonder Woman from Tom King. Great hashtag. All right, let's keep going.
Well, the thing is, Caleb, if you knew anything, Dark Knight Returns wasn't in the Silver Age. It was in the modern age because it was post Crisis on Infinite Earths. If you were a real comic book fan, you'd know that. Anyway, but next up, apparently it was sorry, what's her name again? Cat Grant. Michaela Hoover.
Michaela Hoover, John. It's Michaela Hoover's birthday.
I was distracted. It was her birthday.
I know you're distracted. I know you're distracted.
By the way, 42nd birthday. She looks younger than me, and I am 29. Like, what?
Dude, we all wish we look as good as her when we were 42.
Or is it just, or is it just the power of Latina? Because, this woman does not look a day over 25. Like, it's just...
She looks great. She's got a great skincare routine.
No, she doesn't look great. She's like a miracle. Like, she's like, what are you doing to your skin? She has, I don't know if it's Botox or I don't know what, but, what do you fucking do? Do you, are you... I'm just because the thing is, a friend of mine posted this yesterday, 42. I'm like, what? In what fucking universe is this woman 42 years old? Age means nothing at this point. We got Tom Cruise who's pushing 70 and he's barely 50 at this point. So it's just damn. Age means nothing now. In terms of these celebrities, I swear to God. But she's an actress. The sleep thing, I don't know about that. Fitness, nutrition, yeah, sure, I'll give them that. But
dude, I need to get in the gym more. Damn, there's some high bar to keep up with. Michaela Hoover looking no older than probably 23, and she's 42. I mean, she looks great. She's in great shape, and of course, part of the DCU.
Honestly, I don't believe her.
Happy birthday!
I don't fucking believe her. Show me the birth certificate. Show me your driver's license. Show me your passport.
But why would you go the other? Well, why would you go the other way? Wouldn't you want to be younger? I don't know.
I don't know, but I don't believe it.
Why would you overstate your age?
I don't know.
Yeah, the stress part.
I don't believe it for a second. I don't believe it for a second.
Well, you know what, John? If there's somebody else who's also defying age, if you go off his
I thought you were going to say defying gravity,
cover,
but yeah, 60. Kyle Chandler looks very good for his age. I wouldn't say he looks great. Maybe in his 50s, not 60, but I wouldn't push. No. Oh yeah, the guy's
dude, he's
20.
He's got an adult
50s,
daughter,
but He's got
like
the
he's got an
wrinkles there.
adult
He looks
daughter,
natural. He
Sydney.
looks good.
Yeah,
He's got the silver
like
fox dilf
okay,
energy,
but
like
it's yeah, 60. He doesn't look 60. He does not look 60. Like Sydney Chandler is probably in her 20s, right? She's in Alien Earth. Like she's his daughter, like literally doing big time TV work for a big franchise. Kyle Chandler looks great, which is why I wish we had him for longer in Lanterns, but
yeah, instead of
maybe there will be a lot of
one season.
flashbacks. Maybe there'll be a lot of flashbacks.
A lot of flashbacks.
Yeah.
Free
He's
Greenlit.
defying everything.
Free Hal Jordan from
except
Tom
making
King.
it
That's what I
past
think.
Episode 1. I think he's gonna be in more than episode 1. I feel like they're gonna do a parallel narrative thing, but anyway.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
2016 and 2026 going back and forth. So
Yeah. But hey, Kyle Chandler for Men's Journal looks great. Looking great.
now we
And
get into an
yeah.
interview with Neva Howell, who is,
Mhm.
Ma Kent, Martha, but just kind of talking about the character and what to expect from the future.
I think the biggest thing I took away from it was she was just trying to make a point that you should never undervalue kindness, and whether it's just shining up somebody's boots, I was like, I'll get your boots for you, or like referring to the movie Superman, but also just the small things in life. It's like we live in a world today where a lot of people don't necessarily value kindness, and I think she was trying to talk about in general how James Gunn's take on Ma and Pa Kent feels like such a throwback in a way that a lot of movies don't do today, and some people took that like, really, this is the way we're going. But I mean, honestly, I genuinely love it. I love the Martha Kent and Pa Kent stuff from Man of Steel, but I love the Pod Ma Kent and Superman just as much. I feel like it is genuinely brilliant work, and I think again James Gunn leaning into his Midwest upbringing for that is fantastic. And I think Neva Howell did a great job playing Ma Kent, and I can't wait to see her in the DCU for years and years to come. I hope they don't kill her character off anytime soon. They never killed off Martha.
The only one you should
in the
worry about is Pa
DCEU.
Kent, because usually
So,
he's the one who dies.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Well, I mean, he too did a great job. He just signed up that actor. I remember Vince Taylor
Pruitt Taylor Vince.
Pruitt Taylor Vince. He just signed up for another show. I heard about the other day. He's got a few other gigs coming up too. So, yeah, good stuff. She does remind you of Rosemary Harris. Yeah, it's kind of like we don't really get to see that much anymore. Like, and a mother character that actually looks like she would be like in her, I don't know, 70s or something, considering they were concerned about Superman is in his 30s. Diane Lane looked like more like a MILF in the beginning in Man of Steel than anything. I was like, they probably cast a little young, but I'm like, I don't mind it because it's Diane Lane, but also going with somebody who's more of a character actor than an A-lister, I think is definitely something different than what we have seen in every past iteration of Superman over the years. So great casting. All right, with that, let's move on, John. We got to talk about Absolute Batman, more specifically Scott Snyder. So walk us through this. This looks fun, but also Scott Snyder got turned down by Marvel before he turned up at DC again for the Absolute Universe.
Yeah, so apparently he had this to say. I did approach Marvel after I approached DC first. DC was really enthusiastic about the Absolute Universe, but it took a while to okay it. I told Marie Javins I'm going to reach out to Marvel too, and she was like, that's fine. They were enthusiastic in a way, and they didn't really have a spot for me at that time. They did mention one series, but I just wanted to do more than that. I pitched them an initiative that I had in my head. It wasn't Absolute. It was a very different thing. They were really nice about it. They just didn't have room at the time. So, yeah, way to go, guys.
Fumbled the ball. I mean, again, to be fair, he does say he didn't pitch the Absolute.
No,
idea
he
to
didn't.
Marvel.
And, but the thing is, you're denying Scott Snyder, and now, the world revolves around the Absolute Universe. And
especially the comics
considering
world,
that Marvel is now starting their own, kind of sort of ripoff of Absolute with Midnight.
We talked about that, yeah.
It's just, way to go, guys.
Had the guy in your house, yeah.
It just, Marvel's comics are just allergic to quality nowadays, so.
Yep. Anyway, let's keep going.
And they fucking killed it in a year, so whoopsie daisies.
Yep. But Scott Snyder also talking about
this to say in regards to the upcoming adaptation of Absolute Batman. We want it to be as though the comic is just almost a bigger, better, more robust version of the comic on the screen. although that's kind of awkward wording. But I can see what he's saying. He wants the series to be more like this bigger, better version, and
bigger, better, badder, faster, stronger. Version of Absolute Universe. Yeah.
Battier.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's an animated show. I'm sure Zack Snyder would be interested if they did a movie. But yeah, good for.
I mean, he
Scott
did
Snyder
that Twilight of the Gods thing that nobody fucking remembered, and it came out. Nobody knew it came out, and then it lasted a season, and then it got canceled. So
I checked it out briefly. Was very disappointed. Sorry, Zach. But anyway, let's keep going. I think there's one more Scott Snyder thing. Again, talking more about the Absolute Universe. So. Yeah, he's the man.
So, upcoming Absolute Batman animated series gets production update from Scott Snyder. We have started working on it. I've had our initial development conversations. The first steps are just writing a series format, kind of a Bible for the whole series. Thank you for that. And showing how many episodes we think it is and the structure of it. I can't say enough good things about how creator forward they are, about how hard they work to make sure that Nick and I can really be part of the creative drive of it. We want it to be as though the comic is just a bigger, better, more robust version of the comic on the screen. It really looks like the comic book come to life three-dimensionally in the coolest way. So, badass,
exactly. So all sounds good to me. Hello, Manos time. Hope you didn't miss the Blue Beetle. Oh no, we're getting to that. We're definitely getting to that. You did not miss it. You're here just in time. And yeah, stick around for Tier List Tuesday later too. That will be coming up in about a half hour. But John, let's keep going. Speaking of all the new character news. Well, we got Absolute Batman coming into our TV screen, or hopefully soon. But also, remember Booster Gold was one of the 10 projects they announced years ago now that is somewhere in development. But yesterday Jalen pointed out that there was some news, and I just kind of like decided, well, let me look into it first before we talk about it. So here we go. Today, as the day went on, this became more and more of a thing online, so we're going to discuss it now. I will say this is all at the end of the day still somewhat circumstantial. By the way, hello MTG. But many people have now noted that the Writers Guild of America West, on their website, they've got a directory where you can kind of search up writers and find out their portfolio. It's kind of like IMDb, but just for writers. So if you go to directory.wga.org, you can find it there. You can search for his name. And now if you go there like John just did, you see in the listing for David Jenkins, it shows Booster Gold not once but twice, showrunner and executive producer. So it does seem to imply that means the pilot script he was working on, because remember, he's not the first guy to work on the show. It was what the Danny McBride team was working on it, and now they're doing like the G.I. Joe thing. They did something that DC Studios seemed to have passed on, and then David Jenkins came in a few months ago. I remember we first talked about it, and he's of course hot off. He worked on Our Flag Means Death. That was a show he was show running and executive producing. He also did the new Chat Powers with Glenn Powell on Hulu. He's done People of Earth, so he's also got a few movie credits, I believe. But yeah, he's now listed under the WGA for Booster Gold. Now, what I wanted to point out here, because again, this is not 100% confirmation. It's sort of one of those things where, like IMDb, if you go to any movies page before the movies come out, there'll be stuff that will pop up that isn't necessarily exactly true, because once the movie is out, you can actually corroborate that information from the credits in the movie and stuff and be like, okay, this person was actually involved. Because you can go and edit your own profile on IMDb if you have like a paid account, and then the editors on IMDb, almost like Wikipedia somewhat, will go and fix that. Now the WGA, their team does manage this directory, so it is verified to a certain degree. But all I'm saying is, just because he's listed as showrunner, executive producer, doesn't necessarily mean that this pilot is going to see the light of day, because even if the pilot script got picked up, you still got to then get the official green light. And we haven't heard anything about that. So until we hear, even if it is just from one of the big industry trades and it's not from James Gunn, we don't know yet if the series is greenlit. But obviously, John, this seems to be a lot further along than what we got with the previous writers that they had brought in. So what are your thoughts on this? Like, for example, before we actually even get your reaction, if you go to not just David Jenkins, Michael Waldron's credits, because remember we talked about him yesterday, how he's now attached for a Nova movie. Now this is the thing about that too. Deadline was reporting he's doing a movie. His WGA profile shows him doing a Nova TV show, but it doesn't give him a job title. I would go off the Deadline report because you trust Deadline. They corroborated this, so it does look like he's working on a movie. But similarly, Nova showed up on his list here as well. Now, if you go back to David Jenkins, I believe Chad Powers is, by the way, Michael Waldron's thing, not David Jenkins. Our Flag Means Death is David Jenkins. John, your thoughts? Do you think David Jenkins is the right pick for Booster Gold? Are we finally going to get a Booster Gold TV show?
I have heard Our Flag Means Death is a very good show. I don't know a ton about People of Earth. It was kind of like, I think it was like one season and then it got canceled. I know Our Flag Means Death got a lot of tweaking with its second season, because I don't know if this is 100% true or not, but there was some things that were meddled with, because the first season is very openly LGBTQ, and then I think this was like after they got bought out by, Discovery, that
oh wait,
then
no,
they
you're talking
made
about
it very like,
wasn't that a Fox Disney situation? Because wasn't that on FX?
no, it was on HBO.
Oh, it was okay.
It was on
okay,
HBO.
okay,
I think
okay,
it was.
got it,
I don't know
got
if it was HBO Max and HBO or just one, but it
Just
was on
okay.
HBO.
Got it, yeah.
And then there was some tweaking and meddling that kind of took away a lot of the gay stuff that like the show was kind of built on, and a lot of fans were upset, and a lot of fans blamed the buyout and the merger as to why
that would be
kind of
beyond. That's gonna be coming from above his head, though, right? Considering he
yeah.
was
No,
involved
I'm not
from
blaming
the
him. It's
beginning,
just like
yeah.
there was some meddling with that, but he's already in the house of
HBO.
Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers
Yeah.
owns HBO, so that makes sense. And I have heard the show is good, even the second season, which a lot of fans didn't like because of the studio meddling. So, okay, so it was HBO Max. But yeah, I think I think that it's definitely, I think that's good, because he's like in-house. He's worked with WB before. He's worked with HBO Max before, which I assume Booster Gold is going to be on. So I think that helps, and he's in the house of the house of not Mouse, the house of the Golden Shield. So
the home of box office.
Yes.
Box office. HBO.
Yes. So I think that's good, and I've heard the show is very funny. So I think that means something.
It's good. I mean, again, that's a pretty important credit there. And again, he's tested.
It's normal. It's normal,
it's normal.
because essentially every showrunner is an executive producer, but not all executive producers are showrunners.
Some of them are just writers, or they're consultants, or they're involved. Like, they might be involved in the franchise from a previous iteration, so they're just there for like their name, and then maybe they'll get a financial cut from it. But yeah, like every show, like exactly, it's like a square it's like a square is a rectangle, but not a rectangle is not a square kind of a situation. Like, every showrunner is an executive producer, but not every executive producer is a showrunner, because there's only one showrunner on a show.
Well, sometimes there's co-showrunners, but
yeah, it's not as often, but yes, that could be true for some. Every once in a while, you'll see that.
Yeah, I know it had. That's why I didn't watch the show, because it had good old Taika White titties on it. So,
well, isn't it based on something that Taika did back in the day? Wasn't it based on a movie, or like as a continuation?
That you're thinking of What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, okay, that's okay. Never mind. Again, that was the FX thing. That's what I was confusing it with.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay.
Anyway.
Right, cool. So it was on HBO Max. So again, David Jenkins has been around for a while. If you go back to the Twitter thing, we could see what he looks like. The man seems to be busy working on Booster Gold show. And yeah, again, it's not official until, this becomes something that's being reported more broadly. And like we'll talk about in a minute with Blue Beetle, what happened today. But I'm excited, John, because again, this is, I feel like the only, outside of Creature Commandos, this would be the only other show they had announced as part of their original slate for the DCU that could potentially come our way, actually, because we don't know what's going on with Waller. And despite the fact that Paradise Lost is in extreme development, according to James Gunn, nobody knows when that's going to turn into anything. So if Booster Gold can hit our screens, and it maybe, like, I'm thinking if he did get a green light on his pilot. If they said this is a great pilot, write the rest of the episodes, do a whole writer's room, that is a good sign. That probably still means the earliest we get the show is likely not until at least next fall, and maybe even 2028. So it's still not a guarantee that, and you know what, things could still fall apart just because a pilot gets greenlit and then you go on and develop the rest of the series, and you know, you do a writer's room, you could still not, you know, actually make it into production. Or even if you produce a pilot, they might look at it and be like, it's terrible. Nowadays most studios don't just greenlight a pilot to be shot, but HBO does, and you know, they still follow the traditional process. So if anything, this gives me hope. They're going to do a pilot, they're going to shoot a pilot, then they're going to see if that pilot is something they want to then move forward with, and that would be fantastic. So maybe we should do like a rehash of a Booster Gold fan casting, because we did that like last year. It's been a long time. I think we did a fan casting for Booster Gold, but it might be worth another shot, John, because with a new writing team, they might also look for a different iteration of the character, which might mean that Kumail Nanjiani may not be attached anymore to the role. So yeah, we shall see how it all plays out. You guys let us know. What are you excited about? Would you want us to do a fan cast for the new Booster Gold? Or do you think Kumail Nanjiani still got the role on lock? Let us know. But anyway, John, let's move on to the main event of the evening on DCU Daily. Man of Tomorrow. Looks like they might have just added yet another star to the movie, another meta-human to the movie, and another returning superhero from the DCEU. I believe it was a long time ago, right around the time when Blue Beetle was coming out and James Gunn had just been hired to be the co-CEO of DC Studios, that he said that Blue Beetle is the first character in the DCU and Superman is the first movie in the DCU. Well, it looks like the two dudes are going to cross paths, because right after this rumors started to circulate, Nexus Point News put it out there that Shola Merduenya has joined the cast of the DC Studios Man of Tomorrow movie. And then, John, as the day went on, Danielle RPK chimed in. So again, the momentum was building. Like, you got, you know, more and more credible people talking about it. I mean, by the way, yes, Lanterns is the other show from that original slate that is coming out. So sorry, I should say that is actually something that is happening sooner. So, but you know, John, once Daniel Rickman said it, a lot of people were like, this might actually be true, because he tends to get things right more often than not. But then we got the official confirmation when all the big trades picked it up. I saw this in Variety, The Wrap, and I think Deadline also reported on this. So it is official. Shola Merduenya's Blue Beetle is going to show up alongside Superman and the rest of the crew. That includes Lex Luthor, the Daily Planet folks. We already know Hawkgirl, Guy Gardner, as well as Aaron Pierce, John Stewart, Two Lanterns, as you know, as well as probably many other superheroes who are going to be, as well as Brainiac in Man of Tomorrow. What do you think about this news? Because this, I mean, now we just keep getting more and more characters, again, more meta-humans. I believe one of you guys in the chat said it earlier. It's like, it may not be a Justice League movie, but it definitely feels like it's a DC Universe event film, which I feel like is a great way of putting it. Enterprising said it. Like, this is becoming a movie that we need to start to kind of reorient how we think about this. Like, James Gunn was serious when he said it's not a Superman sequel, even though Superman has a big role to play in it. What are your thoughts? Blue Beetle, he's following up on his promise.
I can't wait to see it. I know I've already seen hate about this, because whenever good news comes out, the haters have to squash the joy and love in people's hearts, because they have nothing outside of their lives other than hate. So,
dude, I love Blue Beetle. Like, I want to see George
Blue
Lopez
Beetle,
back.
I mean, it wasn't the greatest movie ever, but like, considering
like,
how low the bar was for the
Rest in peace,
DCEU,
Samuel.
I thought it was pretty good. Like, it's a little generic, a little bland, but you know, Shola Merduenya carries that movie. I think the supporting cast was great, especially George Lopez. He was a bright spot. So fucking ridiculous, but he was really funny. The practical suit was great. A little bit of a generic villain, but
do you remember his love interest, Bruna Marquezine, Jalen? Do you remember? I mean, again, like, there was a lot of good stuff in that movie. His sister, the whole family, dude. Blue Beetle has officially the coolest grandma in the entire DCU, right? She was like, she fought in the Cuban Revolution or something. Oh, so like, I was just like, this again, that movie, it just puts a smile on my face every time I watch it. Batman's a fascist. That's the line from Blue Beetle I remember, because, you know, George Lopez. But
yeah.
Anyway, Yeah,
but
good
I
stuff.
really I really like this. I think Joel Mardonio is the perfect casting. I like how he is getting another chance because I remember James Gunn saying that much like the Suicide Squad,
Mhm.
some of it's canon, some of it's not. Here's the thing: Blue Beetle, the movie, technically isn't really canon. It's just the character is.
Mhm.
So it's probably going to be way different from what we saw in the actual movie because I know we were like, oh, look, hey, look, the DCU now has 2 bombs because Blue Beetle bombed, and so add that to the list, and it's like, fuck off.
Okay, that's a bit
That's
of an
not how
extent.
that
I'm like,
works,
come
but
on, like,
sure.
guys.
But he said, as he said, it's the first character, like it's the character that
Mhm.
they're using, and they're like, might as well use the fucking perfect casting we have, and just it's kind, you know what it's like? It's like Judi Dench as M. 2 different continuities, same character,
It makes
and
sense.
it's just, she's peak
It's
casting.
fine.
It's Dame Judy fucking Dench, so we're gonna fucking use her
Or
again.
or that actor who played Alfred in the 80s and 90s Batman movies. Like he played him in like 3 different iterations of Batman.
Well, I mean,
Um
they were supposed to be the same character, so
I know, but it
it's
was like the movies felt so different sometimes you wouldn't be able to tell. But
same
I
with
just want to
movies
address
though.
some of what you guys are saying in the chat. Harold saying maybe this version of the character's dad is still alive, kind of like Peacemaker season 2. But that was an alternate dimension situation, no? Like that wasn't.
Yeah,
Yeah, that wasn't really. They didn't change that up
the
about
only
season
thing
1.
that changed from Peacemaker season 1 DCEU and the flashbacks that were shown at in the beginning of season 2. Sorry, DCEU season 1 and then DCU
DCU.
season 2 is the only thing that really changed was the Justice Gang. It was like
Yep.
instead of Justice League, it was the Justice Gang. And then we
Yeah.
don't know if, Myrn is going to look like Chuck Woody Iwuji because James Gunn
He
really wants to
purposefully,
work with him again. So those are the only things that
saving
are
him up.
different. But yeah.
Yeah.
Also, like,
yeah.
James Gunn did go episode by episode, like, oh, what's canon, what's not. He's like, I don't think
Right.
Batmite is fucking canon. I don't know if Green Arrow is canon. So, it's
Although
like,
he might change his mind about that down the road because we're gonna
yeah, so who
probably get a
knows?
Green Arrow eventually. Yeah, I agree with you on the 89 Alfred, by the way. MTG saying basically becomes unless they say or contradict.
The
someone from
motherfucker
movie.
said I
Yeah.
have a puke fetish, and it's
So I mean, James Gunn basically said the way, like, if it gets addressed in the new DCU, then it becomes canon. Otherwise, it's not. So
yeah.
I mean, I don't know if the chances of Wonder Woman have gone up. I will say though, to your point, Johnny Rico, I don't think this is reactionary to Supergirl flopping. Oh, Supergirl flop, add Blue Beetle into Man of Tomorrow. That
Yeah, it's like,
logic
oh,
doesn't
this
make
thing
any sense.
flopped. Let's add this
That's not the
character
reason
who
why.
also flopped
It's-
into our movie.
Yeah, it's just
makes no
that
sense.
logic. You know what it is? It's as bad as somebody saying, "Oh, Supergirl flopped. Let's throw a Batman cameo in Clayface when we don't even have a Batman cast yet or a suit for the guy." It's like, guys, think about the logic behind what you're saying. No justice for Batmite. But you know what, Eric? It is great news, and hello to you. Yeah, Wonder Woman was in development. We just don't have the actor in the role unless you believe the hype about Adria Arjona maybe playing it. I will say though, it will be interesting to see if, or not if, but like which characters Blue Beetle gets to interact with. Is he, because I'm like, Blue Beetle would kind of fit into that like Ant-Man and Captain America Civil War role. It's like, oh my god, I'm shaking Captain America's hand. Hey, you're Captain America. I'm like, oh, I like you too. Like, the guy with the Hawkeye is like, I've seen you too. It's like, that could be like Blue Beetle. He's like, oh my god, you're Superman. I'm shaking Superman's hand. God, Lex Luthor. Oh my god, you killed so many people. Great suit, by the way. It's like, like that could be Joel Merdiania's like role.
I will say this. Here's the thing. I'm gonna. I don't. Let's say John's theory time, but my guess is that what they're doing is they're gonna go full on Brainiac invasion, and then you're gonna have like different heroes from different like states and different cities who are like reacting to this. And I think Blue Beetle is like going to be one of those cameos. Like, you're going to have Justice Gang, and then Jon Stewart is going to be one of those people. Allegedly Amazing Man is going to be one of those. So I think they're going to have like bit parts, like maybe like 1 to 2 minutes, where it's like they're reacting to really show the fleshed out world. But Amazing Man might have a slightly bigger role because they said they're
Mhm.
gonna have a with Maxima, so who knows if that's a thing. But
Yeah, I like the
so
idea of
I
that,
think there's gonna be like kind of that like, oh, show the world like this hero, that hero, and it's like, you know what, we're already doing an invasion where like Brainiac is gonna invade and seeing all these heroes, and I think one of those heroes like reacting to the invasion might be interesting. And another thing, I think what they could do is
Yeah.
definitely like insinuate the Reach, because that's the alien technology that Blue Beetle has on his back in the form of the
The
beetle.
Scarab. Yeah,
The
yeah,
Scarab.
Yep.
So that could be interesting. I don't think they're gonna do anything with that, but like Brainiac is coming along. It's like, oh, I see this technology you have. It's very beyond your understanding. I believe it's from da da da, and then boom. So you could have like a quick little like Easter egg for nerds.
Yeah.
Be like, I know that, and then be like, oh, the Reach and like all that shit. So
I mean, again, you can easily show scale in the DCU very quickly, like you said, if you just go around, like, because it's a planetary invasion. And yeah, I mean, Blue Beetle makes it. So we probably don't get Team Blue Beetle, but we do get all these metahumans around the world, especially if they kind of have more direct tie-ins to their particular iterations.
Now we're cooking with
Dude,
gas.
Matthew Lillard as Ted Cord would be. Now, I heard somebody was even suggesting this, like even before this happened today. There were rumors out. I'm like, you know what? Now it would make sense if indeed Matthew Lillard does play Ted Cord, because that would
man,
be
calm down. We don't have any more Millie Alcock images today, so you don't need to do that, bro. Calm down there. But Dan, don't add so many pictures. You're gonna crash again.
This could really set up. Oh yeah, this could really get set up. Maybe a future Justice League, because all of a sudden all these other heroes. There you go, Jalen. There's something for you. But Harold saying at this point, does Man of Tomorrow end on a big cliffhanger, or is Brainiac defeated? I feel like they're gonna do this full like story and close the book on that. There's no reason for them to, I don't know, like make it a multi-movie arc unless.
Although it would be great
unless
to see
Brainiac
Jason
is like
Sudeikis
captured. It would be. I would genuinely love to see
Ted
it. Maybe we
Cord.
will still be surprised. Maybe. I don't know who else could Matthew Lillard be playing.
I mean, we did an entire fan cast of it, so
that's true. Hey, your face.
You guys can go
Glenn
check that
Powell
out.
could be a good booster. If it's a TV show, I mean, he did do that Hulu show, Chad Powers. So I suppose
he did Chad Powers.
He's not immune to
there is
streaming
some
TV
connection there
series.
because we just did the Michael Waldron. It works. It all works. Trust us.
Well, Michael Waldron is not David Jenkins, but
no,
yes.
I know, but like since we had that, it's fine. It doesn't.
It works.
It works.
It
but
works.
It doesn't work. It's fine.
It's fine. It's great. By the way, I think the suit is gonna look the same. I think the design of the suit was perfect. The VFX were great. The action sequences
because it was
great.
an actual practical suit. So
I mean, not all of it, but again, as much of it was practical as it possibly could make it. And the Scarab, the technology behind that, I always said that, personally for me, Blue Beetle was my favorite of those 4 movies from 2023, the last hurrah of the DCEU. And so I'm really glad that, Blue Beetle is going to be back, played by Shola Marduenia. It does, you make you wonder, will they cast a Booster Gold to sort of be in the same age range to kind of do what they did in the comics?
Well, or if they're going to go with that, because it's like, are they going to match Ted Cord? Because Ted Cord and Michael John Carter have a thing in the comics. Right. They're the duo. Meanwhile, I mean, he's kind of connected to the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle, but not as much. It's usually Booster Gold and Ted Cord is the duo there, but they might change it in this case because to make it work.
No, I mean, but there haven't there been like iterations in the comics where you did get to see both Blue Beetles with like that version of with Booster Gold?
That's true. I know they did a thing in Smallville where it was, there was like a mentorship there where they're like, oh, Booster Gold is going to mentor this version of Jaime Reyes.
Agreed. Kingsport. I think Blue Beetle was a good movie. Johnny saying, will we see a death? I mean, there is Brainiac after all, a planetary threat? I'm sure there will be people dying. I just hope it's not any of the metahumans that are just getting introduced. I sure as hell want Blue Beetle to stick around in the DCU. So, but yeah, Matthew Lillard would make a lot of sense as Ted Kord, but that would depend on like what role he's playing. Like, is Ted Kord gonna have a big part to play in the movie? Otherwise, like, because again, you said like the movie necessarily isn't canon, and we did get to hear Ted Kord was alive at the end of the Blue Beetle film, and it was apparently Jason Sudeikis' voice. So
No, it wasn't.
yeah.
It was
Oh, it
a
wasn't?
completely different guy.
Oh,
Yeah, it wasn't
well,
Jason.
okay. It was
'Cause
just people
the
wanna see
most
that.
with Jason Sudeikis was like the director was like, if I were to imagine anyone, I would imagine Jason
Yeah.
Sudeikis, and I would love
I
to get
see.
him if we ever do a sequel.
And dude, he's still been saying he would love to make more. Apparently, he was still saying like a few months ago that he's doing more stuff. So they might have more planned for Blue Beetle with the same director.
I mean, they
coming
said they were
back,
doing like
so
an animated series or something.
That's
so-
also yeah. So I believe we're gonna get more Blue Beetle, whether it's animated or otherwise. But yeah, I mean, certainly now part of Man of Tomorrow introduced to the new DCU. By the way, I did see a quote. This is an old quote from Sholo who were saying whether we get to do this just for one movie or 20
Bobby
movies.
McGruth
I put on 20
was
pounds.
the voice only cameo as Ted
Bobby
Kord.
McGruder. But like Shola was saying, like if I put on 20 pounds, hell, I'm ready. I'll put another 20 pounds on muscle if I get to do this for another 20 years or something. So Shola Mardueni obviously is a big fan, and he probably has known about this for a while. So I don't.
I
think
mean,
we're
if
gonna get
you
to see
know,
him in
if
set photos,
if
but
Tom
looking
King
forward to it.
was doing it, I'm sure he would kill Ted Kord off after the first episode. So
Yeah, well, thankfully, Man of Tomorrow is a movie, so we don't need to worry about that kind of thing. But John, it does make you wonder now with Blue Beetle added in as well. The cast of Man
like
of
my
Tomorrow.
camera froze.
Oh,
Damn.
oh
well.
that's unfortunate.
And it's like the ugliest fucking picture of me.
Try switching your input to something else, like a virtual camera or something, and then switch back, and it will unfreeze.
Yeah.
I think. Anyway, I was just gonna say it would be nice to kind of look at the list. Oh, there you go.
Oh, there we go.
Yep, you're back. I do wonder how the animated show's coming along. I don't know how far along it is, but yeah, Tom King got to you, John. But let's before we finish up, now that we have Blue Beetle added into the mix, we talked about the other day, just yesterday, that Guy Gardner is also going to be in the movie. The list of metahumans in this film keep going up and up
Yep.
and up and up. And I'm not complaining, but John, is starting to look like a pretty packed film. And again, some of these are only rumored, but some of them are confirmed. Let's go through it. Everything DCU put together a list. So Superman's in the movie, obviously. Lex Luthor is in the movie with his war suit. Brainiac with Lars Ettinger in the role. John Stewart, Green Lantern. We know Aaron Pierre is going to be in the movie. Supergirl. We know she has already filmed some stuff for that, so we know Millie Alcock is coming back. Lobo, I think that's a rumor that wasn't confirmed.
That's a rumor.
but
I don't think that's true yet. Same with
So
Peacemaker.
we'll
I don't think
see.
that's true. Because like, how the fuck would Peacemaker show up? He's on Salvation right now. He's stuck on an
Right.
alien planet. So
That will be more of a reach, but maybe the 11th Street Kids will show up in some way. Maybe again, that's highly hypothetical. But we also talked about yesterday. Guy Gardner is already, it looks like James Gunn was hinting at it. So not Aaron Stewart, Caleb, Aaron Pierre. But
Aaron
anyway.
Pierre, John Stewart.
Aaron Pierre, John Stewart. So Hawkgirl, we know that she was like the first one to kind of confirm it on social media when they announced the movie last year. Wonder Woman is like, depends on who you believe, because it's either Maxima or Wonder Woman or neither. Who cares? Like, so that's the thing. But Maxima and Wonder Woman might be a flip of a coin depending on who actually is in the movie or not. And of course, Mr. Terrific is also not confirmed technically, but I'd imagine if you're getting two of the Justice Gang, then maybe you get all three. Why not? Wouldn't be surprised. Apparently, Eddie Gattegi has been back in the gym of late, but he was looking pretty swollen for All Mankind anyway, so who cares? He probably that's probably his just normal routine at the gym. So Martian Manhunter, John, makes a lot of sense now, considering that we know the plot of Lantern season 1 is going to include the Manhunters. So
Two different characters, two different groups.
Okay.
Did
I misread that? Because I thought it was Martian Manhunters. Didn't it not say
So
Martian Manhunter?
Martian Manhunter and the Manhunters are two very different things.
I totally misread
Manhunters
that then.
is like they're kind of like a group of like just like bad guys, like they're generic alien bad guys.
I got
Martian
my hopes up
Manhunter is an
because I thought
entirely
they
different thing.
like wrote down Martian. Oh god.
Nope.
Okay, all right.
Nope.
Well, there goes my hope for that. Anyway. I don't know who's a better cook between John and I. That could be a fun episode. We both cook the same thing on a show.
They are a
Yeah.
fictional race of extraterrestrial robots that appear in the DC comics. So yeah, it's
okay.
they're robots,
All
but like I know they've also like changed stuff because the continuity is weird because they also have like one of the Manhunt, like the character Manhunter, I think like Mark Shaw is his name, is like technically the same but different from the Manhunters. Continuity is weird, but Manhunters, that's essentially it.
Yeah.
But I know for a fact my Martian Manhunter and Manhunters
Not the
not
same
connected.
thing. All right, cool. Well, for us normies out there, that's clarification. But for Manos Time, we did talk about it the other day. There was somebody put out a spoiler for season 1, episode 1 of Lanterns. A certain character dies, and as part of that, they also revealed that one of the 2 parallel timeline stories, 2016, 2026, the show's gonna go back and forth on. One of those stories is about the Lanterns investigating the Manhunters. So yes, the Manhunters will feature in Lantern season 1. Did the CW do the Manhunters? I
Nope.
don't actually know if. Okay.
Nope.
All right. So they're kind of connected to the Green Lantern Corps as the way Enterprising is describing them.
Yeah.
Guardians of the
Yeah, no,
Universe
they
is
are.
first
They were in
attempt.
Blackest Night and Brightest Day,
Okay.
Sinestro Corps.
Okay.
That
makes
kind of
sense.
stuff.
That makes sense because that's also the comic book that they're sort of loosely adapting in Lanterns, or the look of it at least. Livewire in the DCU. I don't know. Ask James Gunn that question. Not really sure when. Maybe too early now. Sean saying Manhunters, robots, are Guardians created before the Lanterns. Yep, there you go.
Yeah, so there's so it's so confusing because you have Martian Manhunters, the Manhunters, Manhunter, which was a Quality Comics character that got bought out by DC, and then the Kate Spencer Manhunter, which was a DC character based on the Manhunter that was in Quality Comics. It's so needlessly confusing.
Why? That last bit was especially like, what the fuck? Okay.
Paul Kirk is the name. Paul Kirk, Rick Nelson.
They did do
is
that.
are the Dan Richards and Mark Shaw are all Manhunter, but not the Manhunters.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Kate Spencer was introduced as a pure DC thing based on that. Yeah. So
shut up, nerd.
Shut you up, bitch. This is my fucking show. I'll shut your ass up, bitch boy.
All right. Well, we're a little overtime here, but I just wanted to kind of quickly confirm Caleb's hunch. Rick English and Rick Stunts will indeed show up in Man of Tomorrow. But yeah, the Martian Manhunter thing isn't confirmed. The unconfirmed villain obviously isn't confirmed. Was there any other names on that list? Blue Beetle
we know
obviously
that.
confirmed.
So the things we know for a fact: Superman, Lex Luthor, Brainiac. I would fucking hope so. John Stewart, Supergirl, Guy Gardner, Hawkgirl, Maxima, and Blue Beetle. Those are like the main ones. Meanwhile, Mr. Terrific is kind of iffy. Like probably will, probably won't. Everything else is up in the air. Mr. Terrific probably will. So everyone else is up in the Wonder Woman. I don't know. Lobo. I don't know. Peacemaker. Peacemaker is the only one here that is like definitely 100% not, because
I think James Gunn was pretty explicit that we're not going to see him for a while. So I think it would be really
so Peacemaker is definitely he had a cameo in fucking Superman, but like that was it.
That was then. This is now. He's on a different planet, so the villain could be. Well, we did talk about Sinqua Walls got cast, and he might be playing Amazing Man, but I don't know. That's meant to be more of a hero, so I don't know who the unannounced villain could be. Could be anybody. There's nobody that we really could I don't know. You could make that up to be just about any other villain, some kind of secondary villain character. But you already have Lex Luthor and Brainiac. I feel like you got a lot going on already. Static Shock could be on the list, but certainly isn't now. There's no hint that he will be. Did you hear theories that say Brainiac is fake in a Mandarin Iron Man 3 twist? I hope they don't do that. I kind of just want to do a straight up Brainiac for once. or at least for the first time.
For
in a big
once, this would
movie,
be the first time he appears.
I know,
on the
that's what I
fucking
mean.
Big screen.
Like, it's give us the real Brainiac and then maybe do subvert it or subvert us, because I don't know, like but they did it with the Mandarin and it was actually kind of fun. So I don't know. Rumors be rumors. I hope that particular rumor is not true, but Peacemaker and post-credit scene could work, but that would depend on how consequential that might be, because James Gunn does not like consequential post-credit scenes. So, and we don't like consequential post-credit scenes. That's why we just have John do a cameo at the end of our show, John. So, yeah. And on that note, I think we're gonna wrap up DCU Daily because we gotta get to Tier List Tuesday. And yeah, John's gonna be on assignment tomorrow, so John's got places to be. And on that note, let's stay blessed and make sure to join us on Tier List Tuesday coming up. Hit the like button on your way out. We'll see you on the next episode of DCU Daily.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see Cole.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts.
Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in a stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all in the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka.
Fuck Tom King, David Ellison, and Jeff Snyder.